Yo guys, how you guys doing? We're back with another podcast. I'm gonna try to not do a cringy intro this time. So this is podcast number 12, by the way, Atro. Or wait, no, 13. No, this is 13, because last time you told me it was 13. No. I uploaded the last one, and it was, I'm telling you, this one's actually 13. Regardless, we're coming back at you with another podcast today. We're gonna be talking about perks today, alright? Whole podcast is gonna be about perks. If you guys see the screen, I don't know if you're listening or just watching, but I'm on the public test build. There is a new rank system, emblem system that's out right now, but we haven't really done enough testing to really go in depth about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep testing it, and then we'll probably come back next week with the podcast on that. So no talk about the emblems this week. It'll all be about perks. And yeah, I think there's a lot to say about the perks. I mean, okay, it is my personal, yes, it's my personal opinion anyway, that I think that perks are like way too strong in this game. Like, they are game breaking. Like, I think the difference between no perks DBD and perks DBD is huge, like bigger than it should be. That's my opinion, but I mean, I'm curious to see what everyone else in here thinks. And
I think perks are just, they're insane in this game because you still have perks like Bond. I think Bond is a perfect perk because A, it's an information gathering perk, and I think those perks are great just by default. And B, it's a very strong perk, but it's not strong because the reason it's strong doesn't make the other side miserable with some other perks we might be getting into later.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's a good thing to open with, to be honest. I think as far as general perk balance goes, I think we can all agree on this, right? I think a good perk is a perk that's strong and like valuable. I think Bond is a perfect example. It gives you information. It's a very like Bond is known as one of the strongest perks in the game for survivors. Like good survivors anyway will tell you. Bond is one of those perks that people look at and feel like it's not that good until you run it, and then you're like, holy shit, this perk is amazing. It's like known as one of the best perks in the game, but it's like the least oppressive perk ever to play against, you know? Like, no killer finishes a game and is like, oh my god, 4 bonds, all 4 survivors running bonds, this is crazy. Like, no one does that, you know? Because no, it's a nice perk. It gives you information, it's not insanely strong, and I think that should be the goal for pretty much every perk in this game. I wish every perk was like that, because unfortunately, they're not, you know? I mean, we're going to be getting into that.
That's not the case.
But I think, like, going forward, if anything can be learned from this podcast, like, I mean, I know we're just starting it and we haven't gotten into the discussion yet, but spoiler alert, that's going to be the moral of this whole podcast, is we need more perks like Bond. Like, more perks that are strong, but not fucking oppressive as shit. But anyway, like, what perks you guys want to start with? I mean, I know there's obviously, like, the super fucking, like we have, like, Decisive Strike and NOED that, of course, are going to fucking... You know, or we could just get into like Exhaustion. I mean, like, where do you guys want to start with this?
I was thinking we could just walk down the line. Like, I've got, or wait, do we not want to talk about all the perks, or do we want to just talk about some?
We just want to talk about perks in general. I think we definitely want to talk about the perks that are either very good examples of what a perk should be, like Bond, or just very bad examples.
Yeah, I don't think we need to, like, literally touch base on every single perk individually. Yeah. I think it's more like, let's give examples of perks that are fucking oppressive as shit. Let's give examples of perks that literally do nothing and need to be buffed, and then let's give an example of perks that are, like, somewhere in the middle that, you know, would be better if the meta perks were nerfed a little, you know?
All right, just for organization, let's start with some survivor perks then. Let's pick a good, wholesome perk you think is pretty good.
A wholesome survivor perk.
Oh, like, so are you saying a perk that, like, I wish would be used more and I wish was, like, the standard?
Pharmacy, a perk like Bond or something.
Okay,
like
how about this?
It's a good perk.
How about this? Wake up. Or pharmacy. Both those perks. Both those perks.
I really want to talk about pharmacy. I think that perk is so underrated.
I mean, if you want, I think we're just. I mean, okay. Go ahead and say what you got to say about pharmacy. I'm curious.
All right. So pharmacy does 2 things. It increases your chest search speed by 80%, and you're guaranteed, but only on rank 3 of the perk, to find a green medkit in the first chest you search every game. So not only is this perk great for, you know, farming medkits, green medkits, which are pretty good. That's a pretty good item right there. Like just getting that item for free every game guaranteed just by searching a chest, which with this perk, as I mentioned before, it takes only like 3 to 4 seconds. And if you're taking a more stealthy approach to the game, then you could run pharmacy instead of self-care, because obviously your goal is gonna be to not be found a lot, so you hopefully won't get hit a lot, and you can get around 2 self-heals out of that perk. So
See, I think the argument against, I hear a lot of people saying this, or, to be honest, a lot of people saying how amazing pharmacy is and how underrated it is. But like even though that you do the chests like faster or whatever, still though the time that you're taking to search those chests, you could just be doing gens, you know. So like,
I mean, I thought we were gonna start with a wholesome perk, you know, and I think
no. I mean, I agree. I agree it is a wholesome perk. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying I don't think it's as underrated as people say. I think it is a meh perk. But I mean, I do think that meh perks are good though. Like I do think it's a nice balanced perk. Like for instance, I think if self-care didn't exist, I think pharmacy would be a great perk. Great perk.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
yeah.
I think it's right on the same. Like my example was like wake up. I think wake up's a great perk. You know, like it's a nice.
I don't even know what that perk does.
Wake up is the perk from Quentin where you open exit gates. At tier 3, you open the exit gate 15% faster, and it shows the auras. It shows the aura. It's supposed to. It's bugged right now, but it's supposed to show the auras of the gates to you. Well, I think that part isn't bugged. I think it does show the auras of the gates. So like you know how the killer sees the gates auras at all times. Mm-hmm. You also have that. But then while you're opening the gate, other survivors are supposed to see your aura from anywhere on the map. That part is bugged, as far as I know. They don't see your auras when you're opening. But assuming that that's not bugged, that's a nice perk, you know? It's an information perk. It gives you a slight speed boost. You know, like 50% opening gates isn't much, because you only do 1 gate usually, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a huge, like, game-changing increase, and it also gives information. It like, helps your teammates find where you are when you're opening the gate so they can help escape, you know? Like, I love that perk. I think it's a nice balanced perk, and I feel like if a lot of the more meta perks were like not around, perks like that would be used more. And I think this game would be, because okay, the problem with this is, and the reason we're even talking about these perks right now is because there's a lot of perks in this game that are nice and are like decently balanced, and you know, they should be like the standard as far as perk strength. But they kind of get just outshined and overshadowed, because who the hell would run that over running, you know, sprint burst, decisive strike, self-care, you know, all these like meta perks that are so much stronger, you know? And you know, as a matter of fact, I mean, if you guys just want to jump right into that, you can get right into the fact like that, like the meta perks. They're so strong.
I was gonna make two perk observations that I really like. Both of them are exhaustion perks for Survivor, but these exhaustion perks have a little more of a holdback on like a restriction on what you're able to do. So it's life and balanced landing. Like I really like those perks because it requires you to use the environment to your advantage instead of simply crouching or walking. You know what I mean? Adrenaline's in the same boat.
Or pressing a button with dead hard. I feel you.
Right. So,
or you know, just starting to sprint.
Yeah. So I really like those perks as exhaustion perks, because you know, if you're through a window, the killer shouldn't be able to get you through it unless they've timed to lunge well. So it's a good way to make up ground. Use your perk well. But yeah, if we want to go into how that runs into the non-restrictive perks like sprint burst, we can go for it.
Yeah, I mean,
Me press shift, me go fast.
Yeah, I just want to touch a bit. I just want to say real quick that I think the meta perks in this game are too strong. I think I've already said it like 4 times, but I'm gonna say it again. All right, the meta perks in this game way too fucking strong. Like they're insane. Like I just want to say, as a killer, if anybody plays killer often, you probably know, like the difference between playing survivors that either have like non-meta perks or they're just perkless versus playing against survivors that are running 4 times sprint burst, 4 times decisive strike, 4 times all these meta perks. It is insane. Like the difference is not. It's like you're playing a whole other video game. Honestly, it's insane. Like the power it provides, and I think that's like a huge problem. Like personally, I think games with perks. Like, I hate to use this game as an example because we all know it wasn't, that amazing of a game. But I think Friday the 13th, like, their perks were pretty nice, Like, I don't think any of their perks were amazing aside from, like, thick skin, but they nerfed that, And, like, they all just gave you slight buffs, but it didn't really change the actual, like, it didn't make as big of a difference as, like, say, Sprint Burst. Where, like, here, we'll get into Sprint Burst right now. Sprint Burst is a problem because, I think we've discussed this before, but literally it doesn't matter how bad of a position you put yourself in. Like as a survivor, you can go anywhere you want. You can, as long as you just don't sprint and save your sprint burst, you can go anywhere. You can go into like the deadest of dead zones. You can go practically anywhere you want. And, you'll be able to get away just fine because if the killer comes and finds you, you get a huge sprint where you just fly and the killer can't even catch. Like you can make up so much distance with sprint burst. It's insane.
Yeah, I would put these DS, sprint burst, even dead hard, etc. These perks are falling into a category that I've defined as get out of jail free cards. Like they are
exactly
when you are in that shit situation, regardless, you will get out because you're fucking invincible, basically. As long as you do it right, it's not really that hard to do. But I would like. We can say sprint burst is overpowered all we want, but I need to ask, how overpowered is it, Graham? I need the numbers on this.
Well,
yeah,
I
man.
can give you some numbers.
I really wish there was someone here that could give me like the numbers.
If only we had a man here who did math. That would be so convenient.
That would be so convenient.
Now I wonder if
No,
you have someone like that.
No, math man, take it away, math man.
All right, so with some number crunching, sprint burst allows you to hit 150% movement speed, whether you're running your normally 4.0 meters a second, so you will go up to 6.0 meters a second. The killer, a normal killer, not including Hag, Huntress, Nurse, Tier 1 Myers, move at 4.6 meters a second. So that means for 3 seconds, the survivor gains 1.4 meters every single second. So, if you do the math, you get, 4.2 meters a second? Did I do that right? I think I did. So you get a total of 4.2 meters, and then you also wasted 3 seconds that the killer was running, and you're still slower than them. Yeah. Now with that, you have 4.2 meters that then the killer needs to just make up in distance. And an easy way to calculate this is the killer gains 0.6 meters on the survivor, so you can take that 4.2 and divide it by 0.6.
Which is like
7 seconds.
Yeah, I was gonna say that comes to an exact number. Yeah, 7.
Yeah, and
so that's 7 seconds after the 3 seconds.
Yeah, so it's a 10-second time gain.
Yeah.
So 10 seconds in Survivor theory, like if you're talking 10 seconds, a survivor can get at least 40 meters. That's not including the bonus from sprinters. 10 seconds equals 40 meters. That's 2.5 tiles in Dead by Daylight. So if you're in a dead zone, next to a dead zone, next to something, you can run from dead zone to actual tile and still have distance to position yourself favorably for you.
Yeah, that's insane. Like when you really put it like that, that is insane. You can
that's why I don't like any exhaustion perks, because even balanced landing, if you jump off of let's say a 2-story building, you just go zoom to halfway across the map, And I think all speed values for exhaustion perks are just too high, and that's the biggest issue. Sprint burst has been nerfed in its cooldown, but that's not the fundamental issue. If sprint burst only gave you 2 or 3 seconds of distance, then the cooldown being shorter wouldn't be a problem because they wouldn't run halfway across the map,
I completely agree. It's so weird to
Yeah.
me that they always nerfed the cooldown and then they added like the exhaustion cooldown. Like that's not the problem. The problem is
to
that
be
they run
fair,
so fast for so long. You know.
To
Exactly.
be fair, the exhaustion mechanic was a big
Oh, it was
help, I
needed.
think.
Oh yeah, it was
Very
definitely
much.
needed.
Especially with how many exhaustion perks we have nowadays.
Like,
Yeah.
imagine being able to run maybe a build like, let's say, self-care, sprint burst, dead hard, and then
Live.
Marathon or something like that. Live, yeah, live. Jesus.
Yeah,
Christ,
but like regardless, I mean, Mathman is right though.
They're still insane, yeah.
Yeah, the issue is still the fact of how much ground you make up. Like if they would reduce that, I think exhaustion perks would be fine. Right now, exhaustion perks, specifically sprint burst, because you don't need. It's kind of like Apples was saying. You don't need any kind of like you don't need to use the environment. You don't even need to think. You literally just are sitting in a bad spot, and if the killer gets anywhere near you, you hit your shift key, and then you're not in a bad spot anymore. You know, like that's ridiculous. That's way too strong. And as a killer, like in this game, that is literally what you do: is you catch survivors in bad positions, and then you punish them by downing them. So the fact that a perk completely takes that away, the fact that the perk could just be like, "Oh, I'm in a bad position. Just kidding. Fuck you. I'm not anymore because of this perk," is insane. That's not okay. That's flat out not okay. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. And I think it would be okay, like, if it got nerfed a little bit, you know? Like, I think it's okay to have a perk where maybe, like, okay, I can go work in this dead zone and maybe have more of a chance to get out because of this slight speed boost. But that should be the extent of it, is slight. There's no way. It's way too ridiculous as it is right now.
Yeah. So when I think about sprint burst, I actually think about dead hard a lot. Like when I see dead hard and what it is, like that to me is a sprint burst. Like it's just like a burst, like really quick of you just sprinting, right? I've never ever understood why invincibility is a factor in that. I've never understood it. I like that to me should be a distance gain that is fair, right? But not something where you can just like run through the killer, bait the invincible swing. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't like. First of all, it doesn't make sense to me logically. Why these survivors turn into ethereal ghosts and I can't hit them? But you know what I mean? But like, second of
Yeah.
all, it's just like a good point to make is like, Tofu, you're in a shack right now, and if a injured survivor is running towards that pallet, and I'm totally gonna hit them, you know what I mean? I'm like 100% going to hit them, and they can just like dead hard invincibility into that pallet and then wait there and throw it down. It's crazy. Like that to me is like crazy. It's just all these different outs.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, I think even with like the activatable boost of speed, I don't think that's like necessarily bad. Like I don't think the invincibility is needed. I think if it was just a boost of speed, I think that would be enough, you know? So I kind of agree with that. At the same time, I think if that's what it was, you know, I mean, okay, like comparing it to other exhaustion perks right now, if that's all it was, I think it would need to be, you know, it would be weaker than the others. But I don't think it should be buffed. I think the other ones should be toned down. I think like if every other exhaustion perk was toned down and then they got rid of the invincibility of dead hard, then I think all the exhaustion perks would be nice, to be honest.
I've never.
Let's not
Yeah, go
forget,
ahead.
by the way, since we're talking about dead hard, you can dead hard through the Trapper's traps. So, you know, for Trapper, already kind of not a very great killer.
Yep.
Just has how many? Okay, like let's say how many direct counter perk does the Trapper have? You have Sabotage because it can completely get rid of his traps. You have Dead Hard now because you can Dead Hard through the trap, and you have Small Game
yeah.
because you can see where the traps are.
And you have Slippery Meat to go, ooh, I'm out of your trap first try. Oh, wait,
Yep.
no, wait, or did they get rid of that? I think that still exists.
Can I
You
can I ask
you
a
free yourself from
question
the trap
for Dead Hard?
quicker.
For Dead Hard, when it initially came out, did it have the invincibility with it?
Yeah,
Yes.
it did.
It's always
It
been
did.
I remember when it got
Yeah.
announced what it was gonna do, everyone was super like hyped about the invincibility, and everyone was like, "Can't wait to troll killers!" Ha ha ha.
XD.
Yeah.
That's going in
Yeah.
my next montage.
Yeah, and another thing that like always comes into play is like I also don't know sometimes like when it's dead hard or when it's just like to me dead hard is just like a bad animation, honestly. Like because 90% of the time I'm like, what the fuck was that? Or like, was that
Yeah.
lag?
Yeah,
Like, what?
they just do like the. It's funny because it's not even like their animation speeds up. They just kind of shift forward in reality.
Right.
They just do a little bit of
Anyways.
shift in space time.
Yeah,
like,
it's
oh,
definitely.
okay.
I definitely get run into that a lot too, where I just don't even know if it was dead hard, and I just assume it is because I don't want to admit that I'm bad and I just whiffed. But anyway, okay, I think that's a pretty good summary of like exhaustion perks. I really want to talk about 2 perks, but we'll start with just one of them. I don't even know which one to start with. I guess we'll go with Decisive Strike. I know there's so much to say about this
God
perk.
damn, that was mine. Oh, God damn it.
I mean, you can
What?
still talk about it.
Yeah, you can.
Tofu's
Yeah,
the one who brought it up.
Yeah, I just brought it up. We can still
Okay,
talk
Tofu,
about
let,
it.
No,
let,
it's
let,
buddy.
Atro bring it up. Come on, let him.
All
All right, H.O., did you have a special way
do you
to
have a
bring it
perk?
up that I didn't know about?
I'm gonna request like 20 to 30 minutes here to rant about the Decisive Strike and say why it hurts my feelings.
How about we spend collectively about 5 minutes on it?
Agreed. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
like-
want to. I know there's a lot to say about this perk, but yeah, we should try to keep it not.
All right,
An hour.
Decisive Strike. Very bad design, I think. It's just I think everybody knows what it does. It's just you stab them in the neck when they pick you up. You do a skill check that's not too hard to hit, but also not too easy. And then you have Scot free. You get a 4-second stun. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. That's going in the montage. Yeah, I think the main problem with this perk is just it's basically another free health state if you look at it, because if you've been caught, you just and you get picked up and there's no hook like in immediate vicinity. You just get off for free, and the killer has to chase you all over again.
Yeah, that last part that you just said right there is my biggest part that I fucking hate about this perk. The killer has to chase you again. You lose literally all pressure you just had. Like everything you just did up to that point, all gone. You're starting all over because someone hit a skill check. It's crazy.
Yeah, like okay.
It's like
I think
imagine. I mean, I've been thinking of a situation where you could compare Decisive Strike to maybe a survival situation. It would be like, imagine if there was a perk where if the killer kicked the generator and the generator was maybe 80% or high, it completely resets the progress. You know, like I'm sure that's probably not as that's probably a bit stronger than Decisive Strike, but just to
I feel like that's like a comparison. Yeah, I feel you.
yeah.
I mean,
Like,
I
imagine
I
you
think
just
it's
kicked the gen and 50% of the progress was gone. You're like,
yeah. I think it's important to really put this in perspective. Okay, like as a killer player, the way this game works. Okay, like the meta of this game right now is having like one survivor being chased. Okay, while the other 3 work on gens. Like that one survivor is wasting time so that you can work on gens as much as possible. Okay, so while he's being chased, 3 people are working on gens. Gens take 80 seconds, so like every second counts. You know what I mean? Like every second that survivor isn't down, then you're still chasing him is seconds that gens are getting done. You know, very important as a killer. Time efficiency, super fucking important. Now, like when you finally catch him, you know what I mean? Because keep in mind, this like the maps are kind of imbalanced too, which is a whole nother issue. But when you finally catch him, you know what I mean? And you finally have that pressure where you're like, okay, they have to get off the gens and come save this guy now. I finally caught him. Like when you finally get that pressure and then it just gets taken away because of a perk, and then you know he keeps running and you have to do a whole nother chase. Like even if you catch him again in like 20 seconds, that's still 20 seconds of 3 people on gens. That's like a whole generator almost, you know?
Right.
That's a huge. It might not seem like a huge deal, like if you like just think about it without really thinking about it or without experiencing it, but it is insane for the map pressure as a killer. Like it just completely fucks over your pressure. Like it's like a complete. And the fact of the matter is too is that there's multiple perks like this exist, but Decisive Strike is probably one of the worst. And I think another thing that makes Decisive Strike so bad too is also like when it kicks in, you know? Like the fact that it kicks in when you actually catch the guy is just so demoralizing, you know? Like you finally catch him and you're like about to get rewarded with hooking him and creating map pressure, and it's like, ha, fuck you, here's a perk, eat a fucking dick killer, you know? Like that just makes it so much worse.
and you know, it's not even it's not even the worst part, because Her, it's an obsession perk, but that doesn't stop people from running it 2, 3, 4 times in a game. And if the hook's
Right.
like maybe a bit further away, because that's the insane thing, you know? Because even though it's an obsession perk, if you're not the obsession, you only have to wiggle 35% to get the skill check. So I'm pretty sure if you were not the obsession, and 7 out of 10 times you're still gonna get the skill check off before they manage to hook
Oh
you.
yeah, I think people lately are realizing, like, whenever they first changed DS to only be a decisive an obsession perk. Well, not only be an obsession perk, but, you know, stronger is obsession and weaker is non-obsession. I think people stopped running it because they thought it was bad. But I think people are like, they've been realizing a lot more
Yeah,
lately.
they
Dude,
realize.
honestly, like using like secondary, like, I don't know what I called it, discount, Walmart, Decisive Strike, whatever, whatever you want to call it. If you're using like the DS that isn't the obsession DS, it's honestly sometimes stronger because the killer isn't expecting it.
They don't
you know?
know. They don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not
Yeah.
even that, but you
It's just
also
today.
waste time with them having you on your shoulder and you wiggling. So
Yeah.
you literally waste more time where people can be doing generators too.
I just had the situation today, which I want to point out right now, where I had a guy hooked on top of the shack, and the basement was in the shack. So I carried him down. And was like, you know, I can probably get a back hook here because I just picked him up. Nope, Decisive Strike. I mean,
So
I kind of
so-
I know I got greedy there, but it's still like I had no way to know they have Decisive Strike.
right. So there's two things I want to bring up. I want to bring up what the devs are doing well about Decisive Strike, and what I want to see in the future. What they have done well in the past is they have buffed perks to counter that meta. So if you do encounter a Decisive Strike, if you're running Enduring, which most killers do, the Enduring will also aid in the reduced stun time of the DS. Now, that's not to say that it doesn't still shit on you, which it does, but it does help a little bit. But also, the core mechanic of an obsession, right? What I really want to see is if you're the obsession, you get the free reign of the perks that you want. If you want to be the obsession and you want to run multiple obsession perks and utilize them, you should be able to. But I don't think if you're not the obsession, you should have obsession perks active. That's just my thing. Like, I just don't, like, as a core mechanic of the game, the killer should be able to look and analyze the situation and say, you're the obsession, here's the possible things you're able to do to me. You possibly could have Soul Survivor, you could have DS, etc., etc. But nobody else can because they're not the obsession.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's just me.
I mean, yeah, you're
I
100%
I
right.
completely agree. Yeah, I completely agree. It blows my mind that's even a thing. Like 4 decisive strikes in a game is just.
It's if they change it at least to then if you're not the obsession, you just straight up don't get Decisive Strike. That would also enforce the whole.
That'd be great. Yeah.
That'd be great, but B, but that would also thematically make sense because I feel like obsession perks are supposed to be perks where this is a really strong perk, but I'm running the risk here that
It's a
my
gamble, yeah.
teammates might be screwing me over by also running this perk, and I might end up empty-handed because I made the choice to run this perk, but then 2 other teammates chose it too, and it's a 33% chance between each, and then 2 people just go. They don't get a perk. They don't have a 4th perk that game.
Right.
Tough
And,
luck, buddy.
and it's true that if you're the obsession, if you run more obsession perks, you're more likely to become the obsession. Is that correct?
I'm pretty sure, because I'm pretty sure every
You're
obsession
correct,
perk gives you a higher chance to be it. So I'd imagine it would stack. Yeah.
Right. So I think there's a great style of play, right? So there's tons of people in this game. I was just talking to my friend about this, and I know this is more than 5 minutes, guys, and I'm sorry, but
That's fine.
this does blanket a lot of the obsession perks. If you want to be obsessed with, like if that's your goal to be the obsession, right? The way the game's going is not going to be the run the killer around for the entire game mechanic. It's like jukes and stuff. But if that's your style of play and that's how you want to continue to play, then stacking more obsession perks to gain the decisive strike and stuff like that that's that's a viable strat now. But I would only want to see that if the obsession gains all the powers of the obsession and the other obsessions do not.
Yeah, I agree. I think obsession should be a total like risk reward thing rather than. It's really weird to me that DS isn't risk reward. It's like the only obsession perk. Well, not I shouldn't say the only, but like one of the very few that aren't risk reward. You know.
I
feel
wanna
like the
I wanna make
risk-
a point though on that because I don't completely agree with all obsession perks being like that. I definitely think that's a step that DS should take because I don't think it's very fun, or good, or healthy, or in like anything positive about having multiple decisive strikes in the game. I think being able to at least know, okay, this person, if I chase them, I'm gonna be a little behind, so I can choose my chase accordingly, is a good thing to have because you can be like, I see two people, one's the obsession, one's not. Because decisive strikes run by 99% of people that are obsessions, I should go for the non-obsession. It gives you almost a sort of play, and you can at least confirm that this person's the one with DS because they're the obsession.
Right.
But like for an example, a perk like Object of Obsession, I like that perk just being how it is, where it's you get the benefit if you're the obsession, but you don't if you're not. And I'm not the kind of person that's gonna want to stack Object of Obsession and then be like, oh, everyone's using DS, so now I also have to use DS just to become the obsession because I hate that perk. You know what I mean? I think that's the flaw with obsession perks in general is that they fucking suck because you either get it or you don't. So it's just kind of bad design in my opinion.
A nice pip there, Fudo.
Yeah, did you like that? That was that's kind of a whole other topic, but it's interesting.
Okay, sorry.
Yep. But yeah, that's my thoughts about that.
Yeah.
One more thing I want to ask you guys about DS because I'm just interested in that opinion. Do you think Decisive Strike? Do you think a perk that allows you to get off the killer's shoulder once per game has any way of existing in this game and be balanced?
It's gonna be hard, but I think if you make it so it's only usable by the obsession and it takes away a hook state, then you're getting rid of part of the point of it, which is to not get hooked. If a killer's gonna hook you anyways, and let's say it's later on, because I don't think you should ever chase a DS target first. If you have the option to, I think DS strongest point is very beginning of the game and very end of the game. I think mid game it's not as big of a deal. And I think taking a hook state away would be perfectly fine, in my personal opinion. Because it makes it so getting that actual, loss of a hook, loss of time investment, the time investment's still there, but at least you get a 60-second potential hook state out of them, which is it's still going to be a giant net loss of time, but it's not as fucking terrible. And if only one person can use it, it's not going to be as bad. And they're not going to remove Decisive Strike, so hopefully they can just make it so it feels less terrible to play.
Man can dream.
Yeah, I think it can exist though. I think it's hard. I think it would be hard, and it's definitely. I think it definitely would have to be only one person having it as just a starter point. That would need to be necessary. But I think it could be balanced. Yes, it could be. But right now, it's currently not at all.
Atro, I don't think, just to throw in my 2 cents, I don't think it can ever. I think Decisive Strike itself is more unbalanced on the survivor side, obviously, because it's an easy skill check, whereas the killer has to go through an entire chase and a double hit, right? It's more effort to gain the hook state than it is to escape it. You know what I mean? So in that term of balance, I say it can't be balanced, right? The perk itself is inherently not balanced, but if you're talking overall tempo of the game and pressure, I think the devs could do a lot of things overall, so it's not going to be used by every survivor and it won't be as impactful. That's what I would say.
All right. Is there any last statements? Can we move on to another perk?
We can.
I know that I'm sorry. I know there's a lot to say about that perk, and I know, but all right. I just want to get into so someone brought up a good point a couple weeks ago. Okay, and I just want to discuss it. Okay, I don't really think this perk is that bad, but hypothetically, how much would this game change if self-care did not exist? Like, say if self-care just wasn't a perk in this game, how much do you guys think it would really change the game? Because I really don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure. I was thinking about it, and it's hard to say.
I know for a fact if self-care did not exist, pressure for killers would be a lot easier. A lot easier, because that's not only taking away a survivor's ability to self-heal and gain that health state back, but it then requires another survivor to come aid, or they have to go search a med kit, both of which are not doing gens and not attempting to escape. So that is a big pressure swing, and I would say it'd be interesting. I don't know if it would break the game, honestly, but it would require survivors to play differently, a lot more map awareness, bond, empathy usage.
Yeah, I honestly, I would love to like test that. Just like go play like 5 or 10 games. Maybe I'll do that on like sub games or something sometime, or I'll get people to actually try hard and like not. I'm really curious, honestly, because I've heard a lot of arguments where like people say, oh well, you know, self-care takes a long time, so like that's time wasted that they're self-caring, and you know, also if you take away self-care, then people are just gonna do gens, and that means gens are gonna get done faster. But I feel like, I mean, if you really think about it though, like, if you're struggling to heal every time you get injured, you know, that's going to make so many more things hard. Like, a lot of people are going to play more scared because they know they're one shot down, you know? Like, going for saves, it would be, like, insanely scary. Like, you would have to, like, heal before going for saves. Like, I know me, I rarely go for, like, unhooks unless I'm full health, you know what I mean? I mean, unless the killer, like, completely bails, you know? But usually killers don't completely bail, so.
I think if I'm playing a high tier... if I'm playing a high tier killer, if I'm playing Hillbilly and all 4 survivors aren't running self-care, I'm going to 4K. Honestly.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. I think if I got put even against really good survivors, I would still win.
See, I'm really curious. I would love to play test this. I would love to play test like a good killer and then like good survivors and then just take off self-care. Like maybe like no comms, but you know, just throw on like bond, you know, and then just see how it goes. I'm really curious, honestly. I really don't know. I feel like it could be like super game changing. Yeah, it could like add a lot more pressure, or it could be like not a big. It's hard to say, honestly. I would really love to see. And
can I because I've had like, as you might have noticed, some problems here, problems. And since we obviously moved on to self-care, can I just say really quickly what I think about self-care?
Sure.
Yes.
So self-care, I think it's a fine perk. I think it's not entirely broken. What I do think, though, is that self-care single-handedly is the reason why if you chase someone, you have to commit to downing them. You can't just leave them injured and then just do something else. Because they're just going to self-care, and in 20 seconds they're going to be full health again, and then basically you chasing them for, I don't know, 30 seconds on that pallet loop, so that's been basically made null and void.
Agreed. The chase that you just committed to for however long can be fixed by that one survivor, and all the other survivors, whatever they're doing, can continue to do what they're doing with no pressure on them. Yeah, I completely agree.
In retrospect, self-care itself is not broken, it's not overpowered. It's just the effect it has had on the game since release are just really... they're very drastic, let's say. And you can't just take away self-care now. You could say, well, then just take it away. You can't, because it's just been a part of DBD so much.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think they're ever just going to flat out remove a person.
No, they won't.
Exactly.
Like,
maybe if... alright, let's see. Maybe if 2...
we just lose Atro.
Maybe.
I wanted to add some points in on self-care, because I've thought a lot about self-care. Oh, Atro's back? Question mark? No, his thing just lit.
No,
Right.
he's dead. He's gone.
Okay.
Anyways, I think honestly I do like a lot of the positives, but I think it's also important to look at the negatives of if self-care wasn't here. Imagine how bad it would be though if you're in these like 1v1 scenarios, or you don't for example, you're just running bond, killer, camping really becomes a bigger issue than it already is, because going for a save injured, you might as well strap a bomb to your chest and set it off because you're fucking dead. There's no surviving that. Even with your busted time, you have to actually get the unhook, and a killer's not going to let you do that, especially when you're fucking injured. They just be like, boop, you're done, you're on the ground. I think the issue of self care is that it's actually just the same efficiency as if someone else is healing you. 50% of a 12-second heal action is 24 seconds, right? And sure, it's a bit of a time waste, but it's not as much of a time waste as it needs to be for I feel how much time killers invest into getting these hits. You know what I mean? Like a killer invests a lot of time into getting a hit, and then you can completely wipe that away in 24 seconds. I think that's the issue. I'm not sure it's just being able to heal yourself. I think it's being able to heal yourself by yourself without any negative slow to it. Like, the fact that it takes 24 seconds, I guess, is a quote-unquote downside if they have nurses calling or you miss a skill check, because then they'll know where you are and it takes twice as long, so they have more time to find you. But I still think that that's not a big enough, like, negative downside to make it so self-care isn't really good. I feel like it's the fact that, again, just as like with sprint burst and other exhaustion perks, it's the actual percent speed or value or strength of it that becomes the issue.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that, because the way it works right now is, like if you run to another survivor and have them heal you, that's 12 seconds that 2 people are doing. That's 2 people down for 12 seconds, which is 24 seconds of downtime, right? And self-care is the exact same thing, except it's 1 person for 24 seconds. So like technically it's the same exact like
time.
Yeah. And like but you also have to keep in mind is that like without self-care, you would have to like run and find that person.
Yes, and that's a time as well.
And like you said, there's also situations where like hypothetically, like a hypothetical situation is like a guy is on a hook. It's just you and one other guy left, all right? Your other 2 teammates are dead. He's on a hook and you're injured and you want to save him, You can't heal yourself now. Like you can't find a teammate to heal you because they're all dead and your last teammate's on the hook. Like self-care right there means that you can heal yourself, go get the save, and then have a chance to like survive. Whereas without self-care, you're boned. You're injured. If he's like semi-camping the guy, then you probably can't even get to him, So yeah, I agree. But okay, and I think that leads into a situation of like, okay, hypothetically, what if they nerf the numbers? What if
I
like
agree,
instead
yeah.
of 50%, what if it was like 30%?
I think 30, 35. So I did 35%, and it goes to 34 seconds, I believe. Let me just redo it to make sure.
Cause that seems like because that just seems so long.
See, I don't think
for 35 seconds.
A 34-second action time for 35%, I think is good, because if you think about it, it's 12 seconds of 2 people's time, right, with bond, or just by finding someone. So if you spend 10 seconds searching, or less than 10 seconds, that means using self-care would be slower. However, it takes you more than 10 seconds, which a lot of the time it can, because bond is 32 meters. You're not going to get hit and usually instantly see someone after you break a chase, You're going to have to go around the map, and like bond's 32 meters, which equates to 8 seconds of walking distance. So honestly, it still might be faster to self-care. It'll just be less safe to self-care, I feel. Because with bond, at least you're moving around the map, and you can walk around Harpy and you can try to play stealthy while you're injured. But whereas self-care, you gotta stay in a position for a 34-second action total that takes you that long, and it also allows things such as nurses calling to be more effective. And it also has like, thanatophobia and blah 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 synergies as well, which I think is kind of neato.
So we're coming up on the 1 hour mark. I think there's one perk that we haven't touched on for survivors, at least, that I'd like to hit before we move on to killer.
Yeah,
are you guys good with self?
Yeah, we kind of gotta move on. I think we've said all there is to say. Yeah.
All right, borrowed time.
Oh baby, borrowed time. I know you love the way I use this, Apples. Every day in my stream, I see you getting triggered.
I've been waiting. All right,
What
so
did I miss?
borrowed time.
What did
Andrew's back. Welcome back.
Yeah, my ISP. I'm sorry.
Feels
Feels
bad, man.
bad.
It's been bad. It's been like this entire week, especially around this time.
All right,
It's
Atro, we're in the speed round, man. We're trying to get shit done because we're like an hour into the podcast and we haven't even gotten to killer perks yet. So, all right, we're done with self care. We're going to borrowed time. Borrowed time.
So, borrow time.
remove, please.
I was gonna say borrowed time. I think is a perk that they put in the game to like counter camping, which is stupid, by the way, because I don't think a perk should
Made
counter a game
everything
style.
worse.
Yeah, like I don't think a perk is a good fix for any gameplay problems. They need to actually fix the issue itself. But regardless, okay, borrowed time is good against campers, but the problem is that it also punishes non-campers super fucking hard. Specifically after the exit gates are powered, extremely hard. I know Apples, you have a lot to say about this, so I just want to say that real quick. You can go ahead and say what you got to say.
All right, so borrowed time. How it works right now is you pull them off the hook, and the person saving and the person being rescued both receive the buff of borrowed time, meaning they can take
If they're
an
in the
extra.
terrorists.
Yeah, if they're in the
That's
terror
the
radius.
important part.
If they take a downing hit, they will go into borrowed time, and then after a certain amount of time, they will fall down and take a nap. But this perk is extremely strong, in my opinion. I think a good fix to it would be having it only apply to the person being rescued, more of like a guardian angel effect rather than a
Yep.
double invincibility, go fuck yourself, hook
That's what I've
rush
been
sort of
saying,
deal. I think this perk encourages hook rushing and discourages tunneling. So I think that the fix that I just said for the guardian angel thing would discourage tunneling and not encourage hook rushing. So yeah. Anyways,
The thing though that I just thought about this.
yeah.
The thing though, if you make it a guardian angel perk, if you're not playing hillbilly or huntress or nurse who can down someone very quickly, even if they're at full health, you would still go for the guy who's just got unhooked, because if you hit them straight away, they're on a like 15-20 second timer, and you're gonna have to put barely any effort in chasing them. However, if
Well,
they
Yeah.
go,
Okay.
I'm just saying this from like if you're playing some of them like Wraith or Trapper, someone who just can't get a full health down really quickly, you know.
Yeah, no,
Then
I
why
agree.
would-
I don't
Then
think
why
I
would
really.
you go for the healthy guy? Because that's gonna be more work, more chasing.
But that depends on the situation, I feel. Just a quick situation. What if you see the guy rushing the hook, you hit him before he gets the unhook, then he gets the unhook? Currently, you could
Right.
go for either of them because they both get borrowed time. After, you could go for the guy that unhooked and get a free down right at the hook and hook him because he was rushing the hook and got punished for it.
80 to 90% of the times when someone is doing a BT save, I'm within 5 meters of the hook, right? I'm there. I'm not able to get the grab, but I'm able to get the hit, right?
Mhm.
So at that point, right? Even objectively, guys, though, I do want to say, like if you have a healthy survivor and a non-healthy survivor, right? Hitting that healthy survivor is still good pressure. It's still good. Like that's the thing that I want to point out is like getting that hit and continuing that chase is also still good because now you have one person that's going to be going for the hook, right? Or to the hook once you get them from the chase. And the second person has to now go either self-care or have someone else heal them. And hooking this other person and going out and applying that pressure again would be pretty good. In my opinion.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
But I agree. I like that change. I think that's good.
Yeah, I do too.
Let's talk
pretty
about.
solid.
I am going to call out Tofu a little bit here because there
Okay,
are
go
these
ahead.
situations.
I'm toxic as fuck
He's
with
so-
borrowed time. I'm a
so-
piece
Yeah,
of shit. I won't deny
Here we
it.
go. All right, so this is the scenario, right? Exit gates are powered. Person's on a hook, right? Just run straight at the killer, pull the person off the hook. Borrowed time activates. The killer doesn't really have a choice in the matter because the killer can't even run away quick enough, right, to get out of borrowed time range to then run back. Like that's not a feasible thing, right? So the survivor goes in, pulls the person off the hook, activates borrowed time on both people, and now everybody gets away scot-free. Whereas if it was Guardian Angel, you can probably get the hit on the Savior, and then the person that now has borrowed time on them could get away. It's an altruistic save, right? You can say my life for yours, basically, and let them get the hell out.
Yeah,
So
make it a 1v1 perk.
Yeah,
Or
exactly,
one for
yeah.
one. Sorry, one
I
for
agree
one.
with that. And the killer gets
I-
more points. The killer gets
Exactly.
more towards his pit. Boom, win-win.
and if and it
I
and
think
this
I
is
made
the
that
best
suggestion,
part.
like 5 months ago, I believe.
It
got
punishes
shut
the
down
killer
by
that tunnels, right? If they choose to go after the survivor that just got unhooked, it gives them the sprint burst, right? And they'll be able to leave, right? It's not going to be the instant down. That's the best part, I think, that if the killer decides to hit the unhooked person, they're fucking themselves. You know what I mean? And then slowly and gradually, the killers will learn, wow, tunneling people off hooks is not very rewarding to me anymore. Why is this happening? And then they're like, oh, it's because of borrowed time. And they'll still probably baby rage. But the point is to show that going after the person that's unhooking is definitely the play.
I agree.
So, anyways, I don't know if there's any more on borrowed time that they wanted to say.
I mean, the only thing I guess I can say is just it's another one of those perks, just like Decisive Strike, where it's like once per game, do the one thing that is really, really strong. And I just think those perks don't belong in DVD. I think they, at least not for the survivors. I don't know what kind of perk you would make for killer that would be like once per game do a thing that is very strong. But I just come on.
I really like
We're getting
what
to it.
suggested though. But
Come
yeah,
on.
I think we should move on to killer perks probably.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. We can get rid of
let's-
the killer perks.
Let's start.
I have a perk
Alright, you-
that
you-
someone
you know what?
mentioned in chat.
What is it? Just hit me with any perk. Just hit me with
Alright,
something.
just, yeah,
discuss.
just
The perk is barbecue and chili, and why it's
Oh
OP.
my god, why it's OP,
Barbecue and chili,
dude.
yeah.
Okay, I just barbecue and
Can I
chili and
just
why
say-
it's OP. Yeah, let's go ahead and discuss this meme. Okay, all right, barbecue and chili is.
Can we just do
What?
do you guys just before we start this, just to get anything out of the way? Do we think barbecue and chili is in fact OP?
No, no one here thinks that. I'll
No.
tell you that right now. Everyone in here
Because
thinks
I was
no.
for a second scared that
No, it's just a meme. But
I'll
I do want to
answer
follow
for
the rabbit
everybody,
hole
please.
a little bit.
yeah, let's dive into that.
Because I
Use
do
your
want to
flashlights, you
debunk
love
the meme.
Yeah, I agree. I will also want to debunk this. I'm so sick and tired
for
of
it.
hearing fucking barbecue and
Yeah,
chili
same.
OP, dude. All right, I love barbecue
like-
and chili. I think it's a great perk. Okay, if you guys don't know
I
what it
love it,
does,
yeah.
when you hook somebody, it gives you bonus blood points, which I won't get into because that's not like the power that it gives you. That's just like a bonus. It gives you bonus blood points. The actual power that it does to help you as far as killing people is whenever you hook somebody, if the survivors are more than 40 meters away at tier 3, you see their auras for 4 seconds. That's all it does. For 4 seconds, you see where they are, what they're doing. That way you have a general idea of like where to go. That's all it is. That's not fucking OP, okay? For the record, it's an amazing perk because as a killer, it helps you with like map pressure. It's not like enough that you know exactly what to do, especially if you're like a not very mobile killer. Like if you're like a killer that isn't like Billy or Nurse, you know, like you have to run over there, which is over 40 meters, so that's plenty of time to do things.
But you still
And-
get an idea of what people are doing. Which
Yeah.
is still very, very, very good.
Yeah, and
It's an information gathering perk.
yeah,
there we go. Full circle.
exactly. It's an information gathering perk, and keep in mind, it also has lots and lots of counterplay. Okay, if you don't know,
Yes.
if you okay, first off, the range is 40 meters, so this one's a given. If you think the killer has barbecue and chili, then if you don't want to get spotted, like for the record, when I play Survivor, I don't give a shit if the killer sees me because you know I like getting chased. But if for some reason you don't like getting chased and you want to hide, you know, if you know they have barbecue and chili, run towards the hook when they're getting hooked. Like heartbeat range by default, unless they have agitation. If they have agitation, it screws it all up. But heartbeat range for most killers by default is 32 meters. So if you're within heartbeat range and they don't have agitation, then you know you're within barbecue and chili range, you know? You just get in heartbeat range while they're hooking, crouch behind a fucking rock or something. They'll hook somebody, they'll see somebody with barbecue and chili and fucking leave, you know? And then you're good. Or if you're too far away to do that, you could also crouch behind generators. I don't know if people know this or not. I think a lot of people don't know this. But auras don't actually go through the generators. Like like the generator's auras are solid compared to the survivor
Yeah,
auras.
they take priority.
Yeah. So if you're hiding, if you're crouching behind a generator from where the hook guy is, you know, as long as you hide yourself just right, they won't even see your aura at all. Like you can see it. Like if for instance you're working on a gen on the other side, sometimes as a killer you can see it, but it's very difficult. Like it's very tiny, and you can crouch behind gens, and that also hides you. There's a lot of counterplay. And keep in mind, also, even without the whole, like, not being spotted thing, keep in mind that this game also, like, is very easy to run away as a survivor on top of that. So, like, getting spotted isn't really the end of the world half the time. Like, I feel like if getting spotted means that you're dead every single time, then, like, I think you have a lot to improve on. Yeah, I think you have a lot to improve on. I mean, I understand there's a lot of players out there that prefer stealth or whatever, but I mean, if you're trying to be a good player, like, you kind of got to learn to play both at least a little, you know? But yeah,
Right.
I mean, regardless, if you are trying to stealth, though, there's plenty of counterplay.
Did you mention the one where you could just walk the 4 seconds in a direction, and then once it's over, walk back?
Yeah, exactly. You could literally
Fake
count
it
the
out.
4. Yep. When someone gets hooked, you could literally count the 4 in your head. You could start
Yep.
running one direction during the 4 seconds, and then as soon as 4 seconds is up, you just start walking the other direction. Bam.
And
no
then
scratch
there you
marks.
go. You gave them misinformation, so you used the
I
perk
enjoy
against
that.
Me too. I love doing that.
Especially if it's a mind game on the survivor. Like if I'm watching Graham and my barbecue and chili goes off and I see him walking left, I'm like, is he really walking left?
Yeah.
I love either going to the basement and then going out, or like jumping in a locker, and then once the 4 seconds is up, leaving the locker, and so you if the killer will check the locker. It's so funny. It's so fun.
Can I just vent really quickly since we're on
Sure.
barbecue and chili? I need to.
If it has to do with
vent
barbecue
really.
and chili.
Yes. I've talked to so many people who think they should remove the extra blood points from barbecue and chili so it's less enticing to use. And I'm gonna say I think that is the pettiest thing Oh, you just left?
What?
Mathman just went away.
Just keep going. It doesn't matter. Just keep going.
I think that is really petty because it doesn't affect you as a survivor at all if the killer gets some points at the end of the match. And killers are still gonna use it, even if that wasn't a thing. I think a lot of, especially Billies, would still use them.
I feel like that opinion just comes from the people who think that it's OP and just want a reason to get people to stop running it rather than learn the counterplay.
I just wanted to get that out of my system.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's really petty to just say, oh, just remove something that's like a little bonus to make it less enticing.
Yeah, that literally just
just
comes
think
from
that's-
people that don't know how to counterplay it and would rather just try to convince them to nerf it so people don't run it. That's stupid. Barbecue and chili is a totally fine perk.
Here's the how do I put it? If I'm going to go on to the side of, all right, why is barbecue and chili bad? Okay, so we've been playing the game. If you guys haven't played pre-barbecue and chili, by the way, this perk gives a good incentive for the killers to not camp and see that there are, you know what I mean? There's 3 other survivors. The rest of the survivors are on the other side of the map. What am I still doing by the hook? You know what I mean? Now, let's go into the 2v1 situation, okay? You've got 2 survivors left in the game. You've been using your barbecue and chili well. You've been sacrificing people, yada yada. You finally get it down to 2 survivors. You hook the last one. You look around. You don't see any auras. They could be hiding behind a generator, whatever, right? Or they could be right near the hook, ready to save, okay? This is where people come into the, well, I'm just going to camp then, right? It's still not the play, right? And there's so many other things to do. If you know the person's going to save, then let them save, man. Just like go pressure a gen, give it a kick, gain more information. The hatch should be spawned by that point probably. Go find out where that is, gain more information about the match, and then head back once they save, and then fuck them up. You know what I mean? It's really not rocket science.
I agree. It's also easy to just walk away, and then if they save too early, walk back.
Yup. So, yeah, barbecue and chili, awesome perk.
Yeah, I think
Love
we're
it.
pretty-
2 thumbs
yeah.
up.
Yeah, I agree. Amazing perk, balance. Anyone who says it's OP needs to just take the, like literally, yeah, just take the time to learn the counterplay. Like, I feel like people that say the barbecue and chili are OP are like the equivalent of killers that say that flashlights are OP. I just take the time to learn the counterplay. Like, there's counterplay to these things.
Holy crap.
But
All right, you've got a killer perk.
yeah. Anyway, how about another killer perk? Let's throw in there.
Let's talk about something that is not controversial. Let's just talk about something.
Okay.
Brutal strength. Let's talk about brutal strength.
All right.
I want to talk about brutal strength.
Really? You have things to say about brutal strength? That seems like a pretty straightforward perk to me.
Okay, I don't think it's needed anymore. At all. I don't. Well, personally, I don't think it does that much.
Really? I think it's still pretty strong. Like, I don't think it's like a must. Like, you know, like before the changes, it was like a must run all the time, or else you're like an idiot. I don't think it's like that anymore, but it helps a lot in chases. Like the fact that it saves
like
you
a
time in
sub-second
chase.
break.
I think so, yeah. But I mean, a sub-second break on every single pallet break throughout a map is pretty decent, I think.
I guess. I don't know. Graham, do you know like the actual time that brutal strength saves you?
3 seconds.
Yeah, I did it a while ago. Let me just do it really quick while you guys keep talking.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's around 3 seconds.
Wait, 3. Wait. There's
You
no
mean
way it
0.3
takes 3
seconds?
seconds. Yeah, there's no way it takes 3 seconds to break a pallet. It's like 1 second, like without brutal strength. Or
Oh, you
something
mean
that.
like? Oh my god, no.
Yeah.
No. I thought you meant how much time it saves if a survivor runs away and how much time.
Oh.
That's what you mean. Yeah, don't worry, I'm gonna do that too.
That's about 3 seconds.
My point
It's
is
not that-
I think brutal strength, the time it saves, to me, is negligible. I just don't think it, like, when it comes down to it. That's just me. I just don't think it really, with the new pallet breaking, I just don't think they made brutal strength something that is a necessity anymore, which is a good thing. But I don't know if it's strong enough to, like, actually run it consistently. I don't know.
Yeah, I want to know what you have to say, Cho, because I don't really think brutal strength is really worth talking about, in my opinion. I think it's just like an okay perk.
I wasn't gonna go like on a 10-minute discussion about brutal strength. I wasn't expecting this to last any longer than like 3 minutes or so.
Okay.
That was.
Well, there's my 2 cents.
I disagree that brutal strength is no longer a necessity or like something you shouldn't. I think you probably should still run brutal strength on killers like Trapper, Rave, even Hillbilly to an extent. I think you should still run brutal strength on Hillbilly if you don't use like quick charge add-ons.
I agree with that. I think it's pretty strong, but I don't think it's
I don't know
like
if it's a necessity, but it's still strong. That's what I want to say. Not a necessity, but very strong. So good perk. You know?
Yeah, I wouldn't call you crazy for running it, you know. But if you also didn't run it, I wouldn't call you crazy.
So here's
either.
the math. Brutal strength saves you 0.43 seconds on a pallet break. However, that 0.43 seconds is 1.73 meters that the survivor could otherwise have been running, which equates to 2.8 seconds, as Atro was saying. It's just about 3, or 2.9 seconds, I guess, if you round. So yeah, it's actually still pretty good, because in that straight line after breaking a pallet, you theoretically save 3 seconds, including the pallet break and the amount of distance the survivor would have otherwise gained, by breaking it that 20% bit faster.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So still good. Yeah, brutal strength. I like the perk. I think it's cool. Do you want to talk about other perks?
How about
Let's
this
just do
one?
NOED.
Isn't really controversial, but nurses calling. I mean, like, I just think it's like an overall good perk.
Yeah.
Or do we want to talk about controversial perks?
I
We can
kind of
talk
want
about
to.
it.
I think we should
I
do
do.
this.
Yeah. I
All right,
don't
let's
think
fucking do it.
Yeah, I don't think I want to
think-
talk about balanced perks. Like, why? We know
All
they're
right.
balanced.
To be honest, I
Cool.
think there aren't even that many controversial perks for killers in the sense that perks are controversial for survivors.
I think it's controversial in a
Wow.
different sense. I think if
I
you're
think
saying
That's
there's
what I mean. It's a
Yeah.
different sense.
Okay,
Exactly.
here we go. Here's ones I want to touch base on. NOED, Insidious, Dying Light. Those are the 3 I want to touch base on. Okay, I'm just gonna throw it out there.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, all right.
Not even Hex Ruin?
we'll throw Hex Ruin in there too. Sure, I think Hex Ruin.
That's number 4. Number 4.
Yeah, that's number 4. That's
Honestly,
below those guys. All right, let's just jump right into NOED, dude.
Wait, call me. I just want to say, call me crazy, but I personally think there's not a lot to say about Hex Ruin. Like, call me crazy.
We'll see. All right, NOED. When the gates are powered, one of your totems, if you still have any, which you probably do, because how often do people cleanse all totems before they do gens? Cleanse before gens, haha, whatever. All right, it's usually there. You have 1-shot downs until they find your totem and break it. It's fucking crazy. NOED is crazy, dude. I've seen so many games that like the killer just gets shit on all game and has like maybe they got 1 hook all game, and then at the very end they get NOED and then just like slug all 4 survivors. And especially with like people like Freddy who excel at slugging, NOED is it's crazy. It's a crazy perk, honestly. It's nuts. It's like such a huge bailout. It's literally the equivalent of Decisive Strike to me. Like when I play against NOED, I feel like a killer that's playing against 4 Decisive Strikes. Honestly, that's how I feel. Like every time I get like 4-man slugged by NOED.
I agree. It's awful.
The big thing about NOED is it's just when you play against it as a survivor, you can't help but feel like you got cheated.
Exactly, because you
just
got punished for winning.
Yep, you do well the entire match. The killer plays like I can't even tell you how many terrible killers that play badly the whole match, and then at the very end just kill everyone because of NOED, because they just like, and because slugging is also insanely strong right now, so like that makes it even worse. And that's what I'm saying. It's awful. I feel like the time that it kicks in, which is like the end of the match when you're about to win, on top of the fact of how strong it is, is nutty. It's absolutely nutty. Like the amount of bad killers that I see win games, or like get kills or whatever because of NOED is just honestly, in my opinion, unacceptable.
I agree.
Unacceptable.
Surprisingly, I see NOED probably most on, if I ever see one, on trappers. Like I can't help but think about Trapper when I think
that's old school, man. Those are OG trappers bringing their NOEDs.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna judge.
Patch 1.0 kids will remember.
Here, I'm not even gonna judge based on killer. I'm gonna say it's not the killer they play. I'm gonna say this: it doesn't matter what killer you're playing. If I'm playing against the killer and they play pallets terribly, like if they're like respecting pallets, if they're playing them badly, I literally assume every single time NOED, and I'm usually right. Because that's always how it goes. It seems like the killers who don't know what they're doing and aren't very skilled, they're not very knowledgeable. Like, I'm not even trying to be a dick either, but like flat out, some killers they know how to play pallets, some killers don't, And that's like the skill of this game. Is like not just pallets. I mean, you could say like, Windows too or whatever. But like the killers that are good with mind games, they know what they're doing. Those are the ones you generally see not running NOED, and then the ones that like or just run around clueless and you could just kite them all game because they're not very good at playing pallets. They're the ones that run NOED, and then they end up getting kills at the end of the game even though they played terribly. And God, it just drives me nuts, man.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, something that I am going to do that will spice up not just talking about 4 perks, but broaden it just a little bit, is showing amazing alternatives, okay? So if you have NOED, right, you can have NOED throughout the game, and it can't get taken away from you if you do proper killer gameplay. And here it comes. Make your choice. If you choose to leave the hook and not camp, and then have make your choice activate, you can insta down the savior. That is a...
You're crazy. You're absolutely
I think
crazy.
that you should use that perk than NOED and work on your mid game rather than your shit end game where you're just like, all right, time to fucking get a couple people down and camp them to death.
Yeah, I agree. I love Make Your Choice. I mean,
I think Make Your Choice is great.
I want to also touch base on something real quick, because I know people are going to listen to this, and then people are going to be like, but Tofu, you can counter NOED by cleansing all 5 totems before the games are done. That's counterplay. Dude, okay, listen. If you're literally wasting that amount of time to find all... Okay, because the thing is that there's five totems on a map, okay? There's no like indication that tells you when a totem is broke, so like if your teammates break them, you don't know unless you're on comms, and also a lot of times they're very hidden, and you have to like find them. So you have to run around, find 5 totems, break them, try to keep track of them all, and make sure that they're all broken on the off chance that the killer might be running NOED. And you know, like how, and you know, if they're not running NOED, then that's so much time that, like, honestly, the time it takes to do all that, probably, like, even if you're running a small game to help you, the time it takes to do all that is probably like 2 gens, like solo gens.
Yep,
That
it
is so much time. Like, if
cleanse time alone is 70 seconds for 5 totems.
yeah, like if you literally have to waste that much time as like a preemptive counterplay to a perk, and that's the only counterplay, that's fucking that's not counterplay, dude. That's ridiculous. That's like,
I think
Can I just
a
quickly,
good thing. Yeah, go for it,
since we
Adrian.
mentioned make your choice, I just want to say, I want to apologize. I've been unfaithful. Make your choice is actually really nice, good perk. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
boy.
take back what I said last week about I wouldn't run this perk. I don't think it's very good. Very nice perk.
It's awesome.
it is
It's
a good
good.
perk. I
Promotes
agree.
not camping and promotes not tunneling. 2 fucking things we want, you know?
Yep, I love that perk. I agree.
And you get rewarded for it.
Exactly, yeah.
So NOED, I'm just gonna drop this here. Maybe I don't know. Make NOED not an activatable totem at the end. Make it a hex totem that can be actually cleansed in the game.
In the middle,
Before-
in the middle of the match.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, that way, if you run by a hex totem, you could just, you know, and then if you happen to not stumble across the hex totem, then sorry about your luck. That would be fine. That'd be
I like that.
perfectly fine. Change,
I think
yeah.
that'd be a really good
I
change
think-
to it.
Because, like I
What
said,
if-
I would love to see it removed, but we've already said that they're never gonna just flat out.
They're not going to
perks.
remove perks, no.
Yeah, but
Can I
that
just-
would be
I
nice.
just-
Yeah.
I just
Good
pulled this
change.
out of my ass. This idea. What if they reworked NOED? Since you know the whole theme's like, the whole theme about NOED is, oh, no, you don't escape death. You will die. So what if they made it like, every time a gen is completed, you get a token, and for each token, your next like, just hit is a one shot. Just like pulling out of my ass. So you can have 5 1-shots a game.
Oh, interesting.
So like, if a gen gets complete, you get 1 token. Then another gets complete, you have 2 tokens, and then that means your next 2 attacks are 1-shots.
Or like the perk could be literally a one-time use. Like it activates when the gates are powered, right? And then when you hit them down, your no one escapes death goes offline. Like Decisive Strike, when you hit your decisive or miss it or whatever. I don't know. It's a good idea. It's just
Yeah, I definitely think it needs to be addressed.
It needs to be
though.
changed in some way.
I think NOED is like the equivalent to DS in where it's a super oppressive perk as Survivor. Like,
Yeah.
Maybe
the amount of games that just get completely turned around, and the amount of undeserved wins that happen because of NOED are insane. And I think
Yep.
it's possibly up there as like the #1 perk that needs to be looked at as killer. I mean, maybe. I mean, barring what we're about to talk about with these other 2 perks, you know?
Alright, and we should move into those other ones.
all right. The next
Agreed.
one was
I
Dying
guess
Light.
this discussion about God damn it, I was
What?
really nice segue.
All
Come
right.
on.
No, go for it. Go for it.
Okay. I was just gonna say this discussion about NOED is looking like it's gonna be a dying light right now.
Hilarious.
Can I get a
Still
baby
the
rage in
reason
the
I'm
chat? Fuck.
All right. Dying Light is a perk. Okay, if you guys don't know, where someone becomes obsessed. If they're not already obsessed, someone becomes obsessed, and then they get faster altruistic actions. They like unhook at lightning fast speeds. It's pretty interesting. But the side for killer anyway, like that's the downside. The upside is that if you kill the obsession, like if they die, everybody on the survivor team at tier 3 anyway does things 25% slower. And to put that into perspective, I'm pretty sure Thanat 3 at all 4 people injured is what, 17? I think I could be wrong about that.
It's
What is it?
50%.
Your mic is messing up. You said 15?
50.
15, yeah.
Wait, 15 at tier
Number
3, all
15.
4? Wow. So there
Yep.
you go. So it's 10% more than all 4 survivors injured at the Nat tier 3. So like pretty freaking slow, you know? Okay, real quick maths. 25% is a quarter. A quarter of a generator is 20 seconds. It makes an 80-second generator 100 seconds, you know? It's a big deal. And on top of that, okay, like everything about this perk is fucking terrible as Survivor. Everything, okay? Because as the obsession, you're basically just gonna get tunneled and fucked. Like, his whole goal is just to get you out as fast as possible. So fuck having fun this game for you, because you're fucked, you know? You have to, like, hide and be a bitch, because if you get seen at all, they're just gonna never leave you alone until you're dead. So, like, rip your fun, you know? And then even as, like, the teammate of the Obsession, you don't, like, the game becomes an entire, like, a camp tunnel fest, because, you know, they have to get them out as fast as possible. So, and just to, like, you know, alliterate what that does to survivors, the whole game becomes one-dimensional. If you're not the Obsession, you do nothing but gens and try to get as much done as possible. And as the Obsession, you just get chased until you're dead. There's nothing fun about it, you know?
Right.
And on
Or
top of that,
if they mori you, if it goes off, you get that fun with Dying Light.
Exactly. And then even if they kill them quickly or whatever, then the effect that it has is also not fun, because then the already slow objectives that they're already kind of, you know, boring, with, like, generators, for instance, are not that fun to do. They're made even more boring, because now they take even longer, you know? And it's just, oh god, I just hate everything about that perk, honestly. It just promotes, like, the worst style of gameplay and rewards it in, like, the worst ways possible. I'm very much not a fan.
I think I'm gonna bring up, like I wanted to, another perk that's a fantastic alternative. Not really fantastic, because it's kind of garbage, and I really wish the devs would fix it. Thanatophobia. Thanatophobia conceptually is a fantastic perk. It rewards you for getting health states, it rewards you for having people on hooks, and it doesn't reward you for killing people, for having them completely dead. So, like, tunneling them to death and whatnot does not give you the disability to the survivor, which is really nice. If they were to buff the numbers, I think that Thanatophobia would be a great alternative to any of the regression perks or the perks to slow things down. So yeah, Dying Light, usually what happens if I ever run Dying Light, 4 gens get done, I have to tunnel the Obsession. Obsession usually dies around 3 to 4 gens, and then they usually can just bust out the last gen to begin, or to end it regardless. Honestly, pretty shit perk IMO.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it too, also, is that it's also a bad perk. Like on top of it being, you know, pretty much everything that can be unfun about a perk, that, like, pretty much everything that ruins fun all on one perk, it's also terrible. Like, as far as, like, actually wanting to do well as killer, it's terrible. Like, half the time the Obsession is just gonna hide like crazy, and, you know, it's kind of like you said, like, usually, like, by the time you are done tunneling them down and killing them, assuming they're any good at all, you know, all the gens are done anyway. So, you know, it's just, I hate that perk. It's such a terribly designed perk. I don't even know, like,
it feels kind of ridiculous if you think about it, because, like, you could almost meme it like the creation process of Dying Light is, what if we had a perk that was unfun to use, unfun to play against, made the match completely not fun for the person that's going to be affected by it, and it's going to be, despite all that, it's going to be still too bad for any killer to really consider using.
Yeah, like, I don't even know why it exists. I mean, okay, we kind of talked about it. Does anybody have any suggestions on what they could do to this perk? I literally have none. Like, most perks, I feel like I at least have an idea. I don't even know what they could do to Dying Light to make it better.
I do. I think that if you are the Dying Light, you can be affected. Like, you can have the Dying Light debuff on you, but it can somehow be removed. I'm not, like, do you know what I mean? Like if you're the Obsession, right? Then if you're injured or something, then the Dying Light debuff activates. You do gens 25% slower, you heal 25% slower, shit like that. So it's a major debuff to your Dying Light only.
That would be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I just wanted to give another one. I like the idea you're taking with it. I was going to suggest the same thing. You keep the altruistic speed, but that survivor for the entire game has slower healing and or slower gen speed, like objective speed. So then he's supposed to play altruistically.
Yeah, okay. Sure, yeah, I could see that too. I just didn't want it to be unfun to the point where some person doesn't have fun just because you're
exactly. And that's why I think if you had the altruistic
boy, that
speed
almost
bonus,
sounds like Decisive Strike.
they're gonna have fun, because what they're gonna do is they're gonna be a giant team asset. That fast on hook is fucking crazy, you know? That heal speed, really good. Helps out your team a lot. And, you know, that time that the killer loses in those aspects, this guy's gonna suck dick doing generators, so he's not gonna do generators, right? So he's gonna go for saves. So it's kind of like you have one less person on gens, and if you do that guy on gens, they're at least gonna be slower with it. I don't know. It almost forces
like
someone, not really forces, but incentivizes them to play altruistically, which I think is kind of fine. It's better? Question mark.
I mean,
Yeah, that's better than what
it's
it is.
better than we
It is.
have right now.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
for sure.
So someone in chat said Dying Light should be like Thanat, just with getting kills. Remove the obsession shit and just give a big debuff to gen speed. So I'm gonna say
So
no
you
to
want-
that because that's
Yeah.
that
Still
encourage that encourages tunneling and making
It's-
sure
yeah.
people die on
Yeah,
hooks.
I think rewarding kills is always bad, no matter
Always.
what the context. Always.
Learned it from the rank system, guys.
Yep.
Don't incentivize kills, incentivize hooks like barbecue and chili.
Yep, agreed.
Thanks for giving your idea though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
What
think
if-
it's always good to hear ideas.
What
I
if
think
it
it's-
was?
yeah.
What if
Next
it was a
turn.
revert?
Yeah, yeah, we-
can I just say. quickly?
No, Atro, you can't. Yeah, what's up?
Um, what if it was, since it's the idea of dying light, it's the light that's slowly getting dimmer and what if it was a reverse fanatophobia in the sense that when the game starts, there's no debuff, but the more generators are completed, the more they get like one stack of the buff or like the debuff, I don't know, which makes doing gens slower but makes altruistic actions faster, just like on anyone.
Interesting. Kind of sounds like a reverse fired up to me.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So
I mean-
like the longer the
Cool.
game goes on, the more generators are completed, the slower the generators will be done. But the easier it will be for survivors to recover from things like being hit or being hooked.
But this sounds kind of interesting.
All right, we
But
definitely
next
gotta
perk.
get a move on. Yeah, next perk,
Yeah,
Insidious.
definitely.
This one is also okay. Okay. Insidious is, if you guys don't
Cody
know,
loves this perk.
if
allegedly.
at tier 3, if you sit still, like if you don't move for 2 seconds, then your heartbeat range goes away, like your terror radius goes away, and you also lose your red light, your what's it called, stain. Your stain, you lose your
Stain.
red light. But you're not invisible. I don't know, some people out there think that it turns you invisible for some reason. I don't know why that's a thing. It doesn't turn you invisible, but you lose your terror radius and you lose your red light, so you're kind of just like a little statue,
Like a little statue that's watching a guy in a hook and doesn't do anything else really.
Yep. And okay, now just to like talk about this perk. All right, this perk is literally a camp perk. That's all it is. I've tried so many times to use this perk as something other than a camp perk. I've ran it on builds and tried to like mind game tiles with it. They just leave. It's so obvious. It's so obvious when someone has Insidious, they just walk away every single time because it just doesn't work. It never fucking works. The only thing this perk is ever used for is camping something, all right? Usually like 99% of the time it's camping hooks, like someone will sit there, they'll hook a guy, and then they'll hide like a foot away with Insidious, or like in the basement they'll sit in a corner with Insidious, try to bait someone to go for the save, and then pull them off and hook them, which is the most fucking boring gameplay from both sides. Like I can't even begin to
be fair.
explain.
The
To be fair,
only oh, go ahead, Idra. Go ahead.
As much as I hate this perk, it still probably is the reason for one of my best experiences in Dead by Daylight ever, which was way back. I don't know if you remember this, Tofu, but it was on Haddonfield, and I knew that you always go for the basement chest, so I hid in the basement chest, like at the basement chest as a hillbilly.
I've had like literally 20 different people do that to me. I'm not gonna lie.
I
So
know
many
that
people have
everyone's
to me.
done it to you, but it's just such a special moment. to
No,
me.
yeah, no, it is a fun perk to like meme around with. Don't get me wrong, like, but that's not really, Don't get me wrong. I've had good memories with Insidious too,
That's
but
probably one of my best memories. I
yeah,
love
but that doesn't apply to how it's used 99% of the time.
yeah.
So,
Like,
yeah, I'll bring it back to how can Insidious be used as a killer to do well. There's only 2 ways that I can see. Do well is used loosely on the first thing. It's what Tofu said, which is camping a hooked person and baiting a bad survivor to come down. I say bad because if you are the survivor and you are going for the save, you should be able to hear the breathing of the killer, regardless of Insidious. You can hear the hillbilly growling. You can hear the wraith growling, you can hear the trapper breathing, all that shit. The second one, though, is something that I've actually pulled off, but it's not very reliable. It's a chase into Insidious when someone's hook rushing BT, but that still would turn it gets rid of BT. It doesn't get rid of their BT because BT doesn't activate, but you can counter the BT to go off at least if you can time the 2-second Insidious cooldown correctly. Yeah, so that's really the only way I can ever actually see it being used.
Yeah, but how many people have you ever seen use it like that? Come on.
Nobody.
I've seen 0.
Yeah, the only person that's done that is me,
Nada.
as far as I'm sure. But I've only
Yeah.
tried it.
Yeah, it's like I just want to say that every single time Insidious is ran by a killer, the game is fucking terrible. I just want to say, has anyone ever played a game against someone who's ran Insidious and like haven't had the game be fucking awful, where they just camp the shit out of people and you're just like, okay, I just got to do gens, or all right, I guess I'm the guy being Insidious camped. Like, has anyone ever had a game that wasn't like that?
When they weren't able to
Killers.
catch anyone.
That's it, yeah. So sometimes nobody gets hooked, and then you leave, and you're like, "Oh my god, the guy at Insidious! Thank God he didn't catch anybody." I've had that happen a lot of times.
Killers, obviously, just memeing around. No,
Yeah, like aside from obvious memes, yeah.
But no,
like,
yeah, it's just a shit perk. Like, it's
yeah,
fucking
it's like honestly up there is like probably the worst perk in the game. Like I don't know why you would ever like.
yeah, it's probably
It literally is like just a game ruiner. Like it's like the one perk that you could run where you're just like, all right, the survivors are just gonna have zero fun this game, you know, and that's awful. Perks should not exist like that. I mean, I know we've been talking about this, and I know I opened the whole podcast with this point, but like again, perks should not ruin the fucking fun for the other side. Like
They should
there's
make it more fun, if
Yeah,
anything. You
yeah,
know,
there's-
strength with fun.
yeah, I mean, you don't even have to necessarily be like, oh boy, they're running this perk, you know, like but at least
No, yeah.
At least just don't like fucking oppress you and take away gameplay options, you know? Like if someone's camping with Insidious, you're just like there's nothing you can do. As the guy on the hook, you know you're dead. As anyone trying to save, you know you can't do it because especially if it's like an LF because it usually is because they can even properly face camp these days. So you're just fucked. All you could do is do gens, or if you're the guy on the hook, you die. It's like the worst for gameplay, like the absolute worst.
Are you guys ready for this?
Yeah,
I'm gonna hit you with a cool alternative to, well, not an alternative, but a cool tweak to Insidious that I would definitely run.
Yeah, I had an idea too, but hit me with it.
please don't say
Like
fucking
Dead Hard, hit
Okay.
E and activate Insidious to reduce your terror radius to 0 for 5 seconds or something.
It's
and-
Dog from Friday the 13th.
That's interesting.
I
Like,
was gonna say the same thing. Yeah,
Like,
I like that.
like it could be easily used to counter things that go off your heartbeat, like borrowed time, and you could also use it in like tiles. You know, like have it on like a cooldown.
Yep.
It would.
Or you
I
can,
mean,
you can approach.
They would have to probably get rid of Beast of Prey because that would pretty much destroy Beast of Prey, I think. But still, regardless, I think that is a sick perk idea in general, though.
No, I like something like that where it's an activatable thing because I think it gives you a lot more ability. You know. Or if you want to make it so you can sneak up on people, you know, you activate it. Maybe you walk very slightly slower, and then you can just sneak up on people, you know, doing generators as any killer. So it can help get a first hit in, for example, on like a trapper, you know, because you can be a little sneaky.
Yeah, agreed. I think
And
that
then
would be a super cool idea, honestly.
Cool.
I just think the way it is now, I think it needs to be addressed. Like, if there's a dev listening, please, for the love of fucking God, do something. Please. I know there's a lot of things that need worked on in this game, but Jesus, man. These perks are awful.
Yeah. I think, can we talk about Ruin and then head to emails?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we got a lot of emails to hit up to, and we're like
let's do it.
pushing an hour and a half.
Touch an hour and a half. We're touching.
All right.
2 hours, my friend.
Hex Ruin, you know, everyone knows it's a totem perk. If they have it, your skill checks turn red. A great skill check then does nothing to the gen progress, but a good skill check actually makes the progress go back 5%, and then also stalls the gen for 3 seconds. So
Yep.
it really puts like if you can't like nail good skill or great skill checks every time, it makes gens fucking painful, especially if you get unlucky and get a lot of skill checks, because skill checks are RNG based. So if you happen to get a lot of skill checks, it is awful to play against. Like,
and if they have unnerving presence, like even if
yeah.
you hit great skill checks, still makes it fucking awful because there's so many of them.
Yep. All right, and like the thing about this perk is weird because it sucks to play against. You know, like as a survivor, it sucks to play against. I hate Hex Ruin, like because it takes the action of doing generators, which is already like kind of boring, and it just makes it even more boring because now like if you don't get your skill check just right, you get you gotta like, oh fuck, I fucked it up. Then it takes even longer and it's awful. But at the same time, at the same time, there's a huge issue in this game right now, which is basically killer's ability to pressure maps. You know, it's like a huge problem right now. And you know, a lot of people say like it's pretty much a necessity to run Hex Ruin on a lot of killers. Some people say on all killers. You know, a lot of people will say that that's wrong and say like Billy and Nurse don't need it. But regardless, you know, it seems like people in general, and you know, honestly, I can even jump on board with this. I kind of agree on a lot of killers. It seems like it's almost necessary because if you don't, gens get done so fast because of how hard it is to create pressure, and also maybe just how, you know, fast they get done in general. There's definitely a game problem though in general with how fast things get done. So Hex Ruin is ran by a lot of people because of that. Now,
yeah, so that comes down to meta and tempo of the game, and not, a lot of what I hear is, well, just make the gen times longer, but you can't just do that because that throws the balance of the game all out. Like the hooking of survivors, the amount of time they can stay on the hooks, the increase of gen time. They really need to, in my opinion, if they were to make a change to the gen timing or like the tempo of the game, how long games tend to go, they need to, in my opinion, buff the good perks like Thanatophobia, right? And kind of decrease this Hex Ruin that we've been seeing. That's just my 2 cents on it. I don't run Ruin on like anybody usually.
Yeah, I agree. I want to also say real quick that as a survivor, keep in mind if all 4 survivors just ignore Ruin, like say if they're running Ruin Thrill or something, you know, or if it's Hex Ruin and you're on like a swamp map or something where it's crazy hard to find it. If you're playing with other survivors that are decent at skill checks, keep in mind you could just ignore it. Like you really can. People like overestimate Ruin sometimes. You can straight up just do gens through Ruin and get them done decently fast. The reason why it doesn't work most of the time is because there's always like 2 people who will see Ruin and then they'll just stop doing gens and go on a totem hunt. You know, don't get me wrong, I do it sometimes because sometimes I just don't feel like dealing with it, you know. But I just want to say, like, as an option so that people know, Ruin really isn't that bad if you just hammer through it. Like, it's really not.
I think it's bad because you always have those bad teammates too, and that's the problem. I also just wanted to do quick maths. 1 Hex Ruin skill check is better than Thanatophobia for an entire generator. Just let that sink in. 1 good Hex Ruin skill check is more valuable than Thanatophobia, I believe, 2 stacks.
Feels
for an
terrible,
entire generator.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And Hex Ruin synergizes with itself because you get more skill checks when there's more progress to have to do. That's my thoughts. I just like
it to the debs. Clip it.
Yeah, that's a very interesting fact, and I think
I've done the math. I had a good talk with Horvath. I was like, "Hey, Horvath, here's the math." He's like, "No, that's not right." I'm like, "You do the math." He's like, "Shit, dude, it's right. What do I say?" But yeah, that's the problem with Hex Ruin. It synergizes with itself, and it's fucking way better than Thanatophobia, which I think is already a nice, decent game slowdown perk that could use a little bit of a buff.
I want Thanat to have some love. Do you want to hit up some emails?
Yeah,
emails.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give it the math to Hex Ruin and why I think it's fucking awful.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'll make a closing statement about perks in general, like at the end of the podcast. But we'll get right on into emails because we have quite a bit of emails to answer. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
Good.
Let me go see. Okay, we missed one from last week that I skipped because we were like on like 2 hours, and we can go ahead and read it. This is from my man Basement Chest. All right, this man is the chest in the basement. Okay, he says hello from the basement.
He's literally
he's literally the basement chest. I love this guy. I visit him all the time. I'm like one of his best friends. He's like an old pal I go visit. He says, "Hello from the basement. I finally got internet in here, and I wanted to come share some chess thoughts. So many times I'm left alone in the cold basement. Like, survivors don't appreciate what I have to offer. I should be gifted with more rare items than my cousins up above. What do the podcast crew think about this? Also, even I like to surprise on survivors' face when they pull out a brown toolbox instead of a purple flashlight. But what about having some dedicated chests with dedicated items? Maybe a chest next to the exit gate that would always have a toolbox. Maybe another dedicated chest for a flashlight. Yours sincerely, Basement Chest."
I gotta
P.S.
ask him.
Sorry, one more thing. P.S. If anyone wants to take a selfie with me, feel free to tweet it to me.
I gotta ask him for the Wi-Fi password next time I'm down there being patrolled, man. Maybe I could like browse Reddit while I'm being patrolled by that rogue master.
Okay, anyway, my man Basement Chest. I mean, I love this guy, for the record. I fucking love Basement Chest. He's amazing. But yeah, I think this is all memes aside, I think this is a cool idea.
I mean, there even is an achievement dedicated to the basement chest.
Yeah, like it's
loot that basement chest 100 times.
Yeah, I don't see why there's not rare loot down there. I mean, the basement is like designed to be more dangerous, you know? And there's consistently a chest in the basement. Why? I honestly can't believe that's not already in the game. Like, I really can't believe.
I agree.
Like they
probably have more important stuff to worry about, but you know,
That's true.
Just small stuff like that is never a bad thing.
I still feel like, I mean, I don't know much about coding. Keep in mind, I mean, I'm sure you guys all know way more than I do, but like, I feel like that wouldn't be that hard to tweak. Just be like, every item you pull is rare or higher, or uncommon or higher. You know.
It's also not hard to change self-care from 150% to 125%, but they've never fucking done it, you know? So you're asking a lot.
You mean
I still
strippers,
think
but
they work
yeah,
on
I'm
other
sure.
things, but there are easy things they do. I just think they're either scared of backlash, you know, implications, balance, etc. They just gotta take leaps back to game balance. But yeah, I like that idea for a better basement chest league.
I think it's a good change, and I don't think it'll affect balance. I actually think it'll like improve games because more people will be enticed to go loot.
I agree, and I don't know about the whole like dedicated chests around the map though. I don't know if I can get behind that.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I like the basement idea, but
Yeah.
I think definitely the game maps should have more chests.
I think 4 chests for 4 survivors. Numbers add up. Makes sense.
It makes sense, man. The numbers too.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't
Alright,
think
so-
dedicated chests are a good idea. Okay,
Oh,
we have
yeah, I agree.
we
Just
have a
funders for a reason.
maybe make it so there's 4 chests and then there's one chest at the end of the exit, one of the exit gates, you know.
dude.
Something like that.
All right, I'm staring at this next email.
All let's talk about chests, man.
Dude,
hit
we,
us with
we,
it.
we have a very strongly worded email, okay, from
Ooh,
Smiths
about what?
Wait,
about
can I
about
read
the
it?
combat straps. If you guys don't remember last podcast when we weren't,
Can I read it? I wanna swear a bit right now.
What?
Like swear.
Dude.
What do you mean, like? The funny thing is, I've read it on my phone. Like it went up on my phone, and like the first few lines were like, "Let me teach you motherfuckers about some combat straps."
dude, here I'm
And
just gonna
I was
read
like,
it, okay?
oh, okay.
I'm
There
just
we
gonna
go.
read it, okay.
Just
Last week we kind of dissed on combat straps because we didn't realize how strong they were, but know that since then I've seen the light and
I've seen the
combat
light.
straps. Yeah, they
Yeah.
really are amazing. But here's the email, okay, from Smith. He says, "All right, listen here, you goddamn dorks. Let me tell you something about the combat straps. Combat straps are the best, in all caps, common add-on in the game, and I'll tell you why. The whole issue with the pig's ambush lunge is the stinger that plays as you charge it up, giving the survivor a directional indicator that you're right there, and thus allow a survivor to start running before you even start to lunge, which combined with sprint burst can normally mean they'll dodge your charge. We've already talked about that last week, so yes. But then we get to the combat straps, and this is when it gets good. All combat straps do is slightly, in quotations, decrease the time to crouch, right? But the thing is, combat straps also slightly decrease the time to uncrouch. Also, when they wrote slightly, they mean tremendously, because this shit is fast as fuck. Also, we're talking like a second to do this. And crouching and uncrouching doesn't make a loud directional noise for the combat to hear. In fact, the only noise they'll get is the sound of your terror radius coming back, which also isn't an instant change. And when they stand up, you just start speeding up to your normal 4.6 meters per second speed, which is correct, by the way. This is correct. This is all true. If you like sneak up on somebody while crouching and you have combat straps, if you don't lunge and you just uncrouch, Like they won't even your heartbeat range doesn't even come back right away. Like the
No.
heartbeat won't even be there until you're like in their face hitting them. It's fucking nutty.
So-
it's honestly nutty.
The lunge sucks. Use combat straps and uncrouch. That's what I learned.
Yeah.
Right.
By the way, I'm not even like halfway done with this email yet.
Oh.
Fuck.
Yeah. So what you do is you just sneak around like normal, and then when you hear a gen getting worked on, instead of lunging, you just keep moving while standing up and get a hit with almost no warning. But what about the terror radius? Wait, sorry, this is in quotations. But what about the terror radius? That's a warning, you may say. Well, fuck you, buddy. Listen, whenever you've been working on a gen and you hear a terror radius start to play, do you just run in a random direction? No, because that shit ain't directional. First, your ears gotta hear it, and then your brain gotta recognize it as, oh shit, that's a terror radius. Then you're gonna want to look around and see where that killer's coming from, so you don't just sprint right into them. And then when you figure that shit out, that's when you go. Except with the straps, they don't get that. They get, hey, there's a terror radius, and then bam, get your shit kicked in, my lad. You get a hit, even better, even a goddamn grab right off the gen. Dude, this is very strongly worded. I get with it.
Also, isn't the terror radius directional though? Because I feel like I always know where they're coming from.
No,
Is
it's
that-
not directional.
It
at
is.
all.
It's not. I guess
No.
I guess I'm just a psychic.
Yeah,
You're just too good.
You
You're
just
a
have the
psychic.
instincts, man.
I guess.
He has the premonition.
Hey.
All right. And that ain't the only thing that happens with combat straps, my dudes.
guys.
You see someone coming for the guy on your hook, and you know he's got borrowed time. What you gonna do? Sit there and let that man cook you with his free extra health state? You look right at him and you plant your thick ass right on the ground, and bam, terror radius gone, just like that. Don't diss the straps. Check your shit, Holmes. I'm not gonna lie. This email changed my life. I'm not gonna lie.
You're right. I just wanted to make a point though. All this is true, except it says slightly. So if they actually had fucking numbers, we would have known that was better. But we're going off of like first few days where we looked at it and we're like, wait a minute, that's terrible. And then we didn't even try it, I think.
Yeah.
So good job, Smiths. Clap to you.
Yeah. Agreed. Good job, Smith. For the record, I think the regular crouch and uncrouch is 2 seconds, and I think combat straps takes off a whole second. So it's literally half the time, as far as I know. That's not slightly at all.
No,
combat
that is
straps.
tremendous.
Yeah.
As it stands, combat straps is very good. The devs, I believe, someone can correct me on this. I believe they said the stinger was a bug, so I think that's going to
Correct.
get fixed, right?
But
Okay,
they
Yes.
also
so
said
when
it's
that changes and the stinger is no longer a bug at the beginning of it, the lunge should be the better choice to make. So when that is implemented, fuck yo combat straps.
Yeah.
Fuck yo combat straps.
Then we're gonna be using over here. We're gonna be using those things that make my attack charge time
Yeah,
better.
buddy.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways,
All right. Yeah.
great
next,
email.
Next
Thank you.
All right. We have an email that I kind of skipped over, but we can read it real quick. Hey guys, I'm Nurseman with 400 hours, and I have an idea for nurse add-ons. What's your opinion on rusty blinks and iridescent blinks?
Iridescent blink.
So I'm guessing that
Okay,
is a
so to the
one-shot
next
your,
blink.
email,
blink,
please.
your lethal blink attack
Yeah,
puts the survivor into the tank state.
Yeah, I hope this is a
Let's do
meme.
it.
But
Let's do
yes,
it.
these are terrible ideas. I just want you to know the nurse is already way too OP. Please no iridescent blink or rusty blink. That would be fucking insane. I don't want to just completely play it off in case you're being serious, but nurse is way strong, like super strong, even as is, even with no add-ons. If they added add-ons like that, she would be fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
Like,
she's
insane.
she's strong. She's the strongest killer in the game as it is. So I like your innovative idea, but that shouldn't be a thing in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, no. I think if you think that should be a thing, you should go watch some really good nurses, and then it might change your mind. Okay, sorry. We have many more emails. Okay, we have perk ideas. These are perk ideas for I think brand new perks.
Cool.
Like not perks that already exist. Okay. For killer perks, a small burst of speed, like maybe 5 to 10% speed when a chase starts, kind of like Bloodlust, just as a perk. Like you start a chase, you get a 5 to 10% speed for, I don't know, he didn't give me an amount of time, but you know, I'm assuming like a couple seconds, just to give you like an early first hit in a chase. I don't know.
Do we answer? Do we talk about it? I'm gonna say
Yeah.
don't like it.
Yeah?
You know
I'm
why?
gonna say
Because
this.
you can break chases mid chase. So for example, if I stand at a pallet, you know, and I'm running over, and the killer doesn't like play a mind game, the chase will end because you know I'm not moving. So then the chase starts when he moves, and holy fuck, he just zoom quick, and now I'm fucked.
Meep meep.
So it's like a better bloodlust that you can activate by making the survivor stand still at specific pallet loops.
Yeah, that's
Almost
true.
like the Doctor Shock, right? Like the kind of like the Doctor Shock for every killer.
Yeah, that would be exploitable for sure.
Very much so.
Yeah, I would say that's interesting idea.
Very much
Really-
so. Very like it.
Really strong though. If you start every time you start a chase, I don't know, did they mention a cooldown or anything? But like every time you start a chase, getting an instant speed boost to catch up is kind of terrifying. Interesting though.
Yeah, I guess if it had like a cooldown maybe, but even then I feel like it might be
Yeah, I think I actually really love the idea of that. I just know from personal experience, off the top of my head, I can think of multiple, of those like too strong scenarios where it'd be just too good.
for sure. All right, next one. Increases gen regress speed but takes longer to kick.
You see,
I mean,
this is what I've been saying. I think Dead by Daylight's perks wouldn't be in the state they're right now of this whole unbalanced thing if they actually went with stuff like this.
right? That's what I'm saying. I love these perk ideas. Like, dude, this
Stuff
guy
just,
always
like,
comes into
make
my
it
chat and
stronger,
gives me
but be
ideas.
weaker.
Yeah.
Downside for an upside, I like
Yeah,
it.
like
That's what I've been saying for months. This is what Dead by Daylight should have been from the start.
yeah, the perks shouldn't be as strong as they're. Like perks like that are good. I love that. Increases gen regress speed. They regress a little bit faster, but it takes a little bit longer to kick. Perfect perk.
Perfect.
Yeah, like
like
if you kick it at a good time, it regresses a lot. If you kick it at a bad time, you get punished because they'll just work on it. Perfect perk. I love it. You guys all love it?
Easy,
I love it.
easy.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay, increased speed survivors can do gens. The closest one doing a gen is revealed to you.
Oh, as a killer.
Yeah, like you see
Wait,
their
wait,
aura,
wait,
Oh, wow.
but they do it
Wait,
faster.
I'm slow. What?
So all survivors do gens faster, which I don't know how much faster it would be. It might even just be like 9% like leader faster or something. But the closest person on a gen to you, like whoever's the closest person working on a gen to you at any given time, their aura, you can see their aura while they're on the gen.
I feel like that's gonna be very hard to find the right value for.
Yeah, I feel like that's something I'd have to play with, honestly, because it's interesting.
is-
Because
Very interesting.
That
Because
is
it-
very easy to make way too strong for either side. Because
yeah,
as you said, if it's only like 9%, that's an insane perk for
yeah,
killers.
for killer. Because
But
you
if
just
you make
always...
it like 15%, that's gonna be, why would I run that? That would make me just get gen rushed every
right,
single game.
like both of those are like the whole like seeing an aura of somebody on a generator and generator speed are both like so touchy that like you have to be super careful with the values because they're just so easy to make OP.
Yep.
So I don't
It is
know-
interesting.
I don't know if I'm misconstruing this concept, but if it's not like if it's global, right? Like a global map buff, that sounds really bad for like balance issue. Like that sounds like gens will get done very, very quickly. Because even if you're in a chase or whatever, I don't know the intricacies of this idea. Like if you go in a chase, does it stop? Like this just sounds like one of those things where it's like, if you're trying to learn Dead by Daylight, this mechanic would be fun to be put in, like shows the closest survivor working on a gen for you so you can go find him and get in a chase, you know what I mean? But like this also kind of breeds the whole like if you see someone and you go towards them, if it only worked within like your tear radius, they would get the buff and they would want to keep working on the gen, and then when you get close to them they would just sprint burst away. You know what I'm saying? Like like that kind of, it's like it just sounds like the same meta, except now they get an increase in speed for gens.
It's a good point. Very good point.
I feel like this perk would just be ran by nurses because nurses are the only
Honestly,
people that can
that's
end
the
chases
problem.
quickly. Yeah, it would just be a nurse perk, 100%.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Yep.
Interesting idea though.
Yeah, all right. And then the last one for this email, although I think he sent me another email with more ideas, but the last one for this email is longer lunge, but wiggle more effective, like opposite of Iron Grasp.
That's what I'm fucking saying. That's what we need. That's what we need,
Ah,
people.
I don't know about longer
I'm just saying
lunge.
that. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
I'm giving you a
take me-
hard
I
no.
mean, I'm gonna say to this perk, I'm gonna say no, but just like the whole
the idea.
make one thing better and make
No,
something
yeah,
else
that's
worse.
cool.
No, yeah, I
okay.
agree.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that's
sure.
I'm gonna say that longer lunge, you would need Just don't.
I
Just
can't
just
wait
don't do
for
it.
that nurse
Just don't
lunge
do it.
after
Yeah.
Blink, guys.
Yeah, I would say just don't
Alright.
do longer lunge ever in a perk. Like I just don't think
Agreed.
that would ever work. You know.
Welcome to
Man, I
the
can't-
Dead by Daylight stream. We are rolling out a new perk called Spaghetti Arms, where you can hit survivors from halfway across the map.
It's usable only on nurse. Good day. All right. Next
I think
email.
this will really make the mind game aspect of Dead by Daylight very interactive. We think this is.
Shit, we got 2 new emails just today. Fuck, we might not be
Ah,
able to hit all
shit,
these,
dude.
We're like
I
Cut him off.
We're almost
Same
closing
for
in
tomorrow
on 2
or
hours,
next
man.
week.
All right.
Get this back on the line.
More perk ideas. Let's try to do this quickly, okay? Perk for either
Anything that's
side.
been sent.
Perk for either side that gives 5 to 10% action speed for every empty perk slot you have.
Wait, that's a
Hold on.
perk that does that?
Yeah, like a perk where like if you
Hold
run
on.
that perk alone for every other, or like every other empty slot that you have, you get increases in action speed.
This is some ascended level shit perk design.
That's just weird as fuck, and I love it.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's
super
amazing,
odd.
bro.
I don't.
But I don't know if it's gonna be fun because then you have the immersed people with 30% gen speed. Do we really
Yeah,
want that?
I think that would be
No.
a good. I think that would be a good like killer niche perk maybe, but for survivor, I don't think it would be good. Like doing gens, anything that buffs gen speed is touchy because gens are
Very.
already so fast. Like anything where you're just like directly like here's like 15% faster gens. Like that's just.
Agreed.
Definitely it's
Yeah.
it's a cool idea. Like I love this guy's ideas. They're so good, but like they're interesting. Like they're
so
interesting, but they're
unique.
not.
They're thought provoking
Yeah,
too.
yeah. They're very creative.
Ooh, oh. That sounds actually interesting. Like,
Stop sending us emails. I just
Like,
got another one on my phone.
guys, imagine this. I don't know if this would actually like work, right? But you run that perk with like hex totems or non-activatables, like when they're not active, you know what I mean? When they're not active or something like that. So like even when you cleanse my totems, I still like now I get a
You get like
5%.
Like a stronger brother.
That would be interesting.
I like that. I
don't
actually
know.
really like that. It
Yeah,
makes
I think it
so
would-
getting a totem cleanse. Is
Fool, you have but
Yeah.
only made me stronger.
Yeah, only as killer though. Like for survivor, I would
Agreed.
say no.
Too bad that would be made a hex perk too and get cleansing.
Yep. All right. More. Okay. What about a perk that gives you an additional hit before down, but you start on the second hook stage?
No.
I'm gonna go with no.
No.
I'm going with a definite no. Yeah.
Go
Like
gonna-
away.
Yeah, it changes
That's
core
the
mechanics
exact
of the
same
game.
problem with Decisive Strike. You get another health state on your
Yeah.
first down.
yeah,
Oh,
and like
I think we actually talked about this one too, the last week. But yeah, no, hard.
it would take so long to catch a good survivor if you had to hit him 3 times. No way.
Ooh, and imagine getting those styptics on you. Syringes.
Yeah, no,
Ooh.
fuck that. Okay, we're gonna say a hard no on that. Interesting, but hard no. Okay, on a button for 20 to 30 seconds, you can't activate skills and are unaffected by any killer and survivor skills. Wait, so you push a button and you can't activate skills, but you're also unaffected by any
Also,
other
it's
skills.
like, oh my
Hex
god,
is
that
included.
reminds me.
So
I don't know
that
who it
means
was,
I
but
can
that's
do
like-
it.
No, you have that kind of ability in almost like every MOBA game.
It's like
it's like-
stasis or something. It's
no,
like
it's like no. It's like okay, you activate it and you can't attack anyone, but you also can't be attacked.
yeah, that's kind of
No.
like what it is. Like you activate it and then you can't like sprint burst or do any of your own shit. But also, you're unaffected by like Hex Ruin or like what all killer perks would
NOED?
not affect NOED? Yeah, like NOED.
No end.
Yeah, so
I feel like that would just end up every single time in the killer realizing that they have it active, and then the killer just breathes down their neck for 20 seconds, and then as soon as it wears off, they just smack him.
And
Yeah,
then,
I mean,
but
20
that's
seconds
20
you can get
seconds
to
where
a
they walk to a
pallet.
pallet. you
Yeah,
know?
what? That's not. Yeah, what the fuck? 20 seconds. You can't just breathe down a survivor's neck for 20 seconds. This doesn't work.
that's a bad long time.
That's an interesting idea.
Oh, we were talking about 20 seconds. Okay, I forgot.
Yeah,
to-
Yeah.
I really
5
like
seconds or
that
something.
perk idea.
Yeah, I kind of like it. It's pretty cool. I dig it.
I might not be understanding it correctly, but it sounds like another invincibility perk to me. So at
Let's see.
first
Well-
glance, I'm hesitant.
It's not invincibility. The killer can still hit you, but the killer's like if the killer has any abilities, that would affect anything other. Like the game would basically become like perkless, abilityless, the gameplay for 30 seconds.
That's what it would be.
Like you wouldn't be affected by
They
like
couldn't
by like
use sprint burst?
exposed. Yeah, they could. Yeah, they couldn't
So-
sprint burst or self
So it'd
care.
be like nullified, basically. Right?
yeah.
Yeah, like basically for you and all things that are affected to you, everything would just be like vanilla
So
DVD.
you could just activate that
Got
with
it.
a bear trap on your head and walk out the exit gate.
Well, they might have to make it like an exception
just
for bear traps.
perks. Yeah, just
Yeah.
perks. I feel.
Yeah, I'm sure they would make exceptions to it.
But
You know.
they also said something about abilities.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't like abilities much because I don't think you should chainsaw someone and not insta down
Yeah,
them.
or like
I think
step
perks-
over traps. Yeah, but like
No.
perks.
Oh,
yeah.
look, my feet didn't get snapped. I think it's just perks. 'cause
Well,
there's a lot of perks.
He didn't say he said skills is what he said. I'm not exactly sure what he means by skills. I'm assuming he means perks because perks is a good idea. Abilities,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. And that's our feedback too. We think perks are good. We don't think killer abilities are good.
Okay,
Personal opinion.
I have a long email here about perk rework ideas. This is one I want to hit definitely before we're pushing 2 hours, so I definitely want to end soon.
Do you want to?
Yeah, that's the
Last one?
Just,
Or
Yeah, but
what?
I it's less because like the last two are also I think perk ideas, but dude, we got to end. So I'm gonna do this last perk because I think
All right.
Dever sent this a couple days ago and it has a lot of ideas. I want to read them. Okay, so these are all gonna be perks that are already in the game. They're just rework ideas. Okay. Dying Light. You become obsessed with one survivor, marking them as a beacon of hope and safety. All other survivors suffer a 7, 8, or 9% action speed penalty to everything for each token. Gain a token when you hook a survivor that's not the obsession, up to 3. The obsession removes these penalties if survivors are within, well, I'm just gonna go with tier 3, 8-meter range of them, or if the obsession is hooked and if you remain within a 44-meter range of them and not in a chase. If the obsession dies, you cannot gain any more tokens. Wait, I gotta like reread this. This is really confusing.
There's a lot of stuff to that.
Yeah, right. I can't even keep up with this. I don't even understand what the hell I just read. To be
I
honest
didn't
with you.
even. I
So
was reading something else. I didn't even.
So
see.
basically, you get a token when you hook someone that's not the obsession, and for each token you have, everybody that isn't the obsession do things slower. All right. Oh,
Yes.
and then basically, okay, if you get near,
the obsession, the effects aren't persistent. So
then the tokens go away.
oh, do they go away or is it just?
no, you're right. The tokens don't go away, but the effects go away.
Yeah,
You're right.
they're not affected. Yeah,
I don't get it.
I think
I get it.
I think it's interesting, but I think like just to simplify it with not all the tokens and stuff is if the Dying Light is injured or on the hook, they should get a debuff, which should encourage saving your Dying Light.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, interesting though
I think
using tokens.
It's really interesting. I just feel it's too complicated. Almost,
Yeah, it's
you
a
know?
little
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
definitely complex as fuck for sure. Yeah.
Because it's like it's almost like adding another game to Dead by Daylight, which might be fine. But if you have multiple perks that do that, then you're like, okay, which mini game do I gotta play? You know, right?
Exactly.
So can't let that guy get hooked. All right, I need to be by this guy. Oh shit, someone else is dying. You know,
But for the record, I'd prefer that over the current Dying Light. So
very much so.
Yeah.
Very
You know,
true.
All right, we got many more to hit up. So okay, Thanatophobia. Every 15 seconds, a survivor's injured, dying, or hooked. Action speed to everything is decreased by 3, 4, 5% to a maximum of 30, 40, 50 to all survivors. That's per
Yikes.
tier.
50.
Yeah.
Oof.
Multiple survivors that are injured, dying, or hooked stacks the penalty accumulation. The survivor healing.
Wait, isn't it just
Wait.
Mario
Wait, hold on. We're not done. 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 A survivor healing
done
the
yet.
healthy removes half the current penalty. If all survivors are healthy, then the penalty decreases 3% every 10 seconds. So it's like a tug of war.
Dude, this is like.
that's
is too
thanatophobia on
much for a
steroids?
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna say no. I'm just gonna say
This is
Thanatophobia could just use small percent increases on what it does, and then it's awesome because it promotes not tunneling. It promotes hitting multiple people, and it's like a nice gameplay, and you get benefited for it.
Yeah,
Like
the-
this,
Yeah.
it sounds like I'm getting like cancer
Yeah.
from them. So I don't like cancer. I
Well,
don't
by
think
the
many
way,
people-
I just want to shout out that he said that these both don't stack. Both these last perks both say don't stack with other perks, which I think is important because stacking them with other perks that slow down the game would be awful. But regardless, I still think like I like
look at
the
him with the axe.
I kind of like the idea because it becomes like a tug of war kind of, but at the same time like No,
For a single perk,
because
The system that's going to be implemented soon is already a tug of war.
yeah,
I don't think
exactly.
the perks should tie
And
into.
and this is another sense where a perk becomes a mini game, kind of like that Dying Light thing. Like the
Exactly,
whole thing
and
becomes
that's-
a big mini game. And I just want to say that if it ever did get to the point where you're doing shit 50% slower, that would be fucking atrocious. I wouldn't want to
Yep.
play. I would just kill myself, dude. Honestly,
Dude,
like,
Freddy with that?
yeah,
Mwah.
I would literally just walk to a hook and point at it. Like that.
Yep.
That sounds like too much, you know. But yeah, I don't know. Like it's interesting, but I gotta say it's too complex and the numbers are a little too high.
Agreed.
But anyway, okay, we have many more. Okay, no one escapes death.
go.
When the exit are powered, all healthy survivors are brought to injured status. All survivors become mangled, and that's all it does. They all become injured and mangled.
Honestly,
I mean, I think this guy just found a way how to make for a survivor self-care immediately.
Yeah, kind of.
This is
Wait, you hit
I like
you
it.
hit
No.
someone and everyone becomes mangled?
No.
No,
since the
just like
gates-
the
Just as the gate's powered, everyone
Everybody-
becomes injured and
Yeah,
mangled.
everybody
why?
just gets slapped by an invisible knife. I don't know.
Yeah, just from like game just from
Everybody-
common sense, like you got to give me a reason, like the
How?
terror, the dread that you're about to escape gives you mangled status. You know what I mean?
I can,
Interesting.
yeah, I can
The
maybe
fear
get
that
behind this
something
if it's
could be
like
out there breaks your ankles.
I don't know about the mangled thing, but maybe like replacing one-shot downs with making everybody injured is an interesting idea. I don't know if I like the mangled
It's just
thing,
all
though.
self-care. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
I mean, everyone's gonna run self-care anyways.
No, but that's what I mean. Is it's just like a time investment that's like being created at the end of the game. And
Yeah.
how does this work with adrenaline, sort of thing? Like,
Well, it says overridden by adrenaline, but mangled remains. But I mean, I guess if we're gonna ditch the mangled idea, then I guess it's just overridden by adrenaline.
hard counter.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't know. I think it's interesting. I don't think
It's
great,
interesting.
Interesting.
but- Yeah.
I
All right.
just need a reason.
Yeah. Hangman's trick reduces respawn time only for hooks used for sacrifice. Increases time it takes to sabotage a hook by 50% at tier 3. Still gives notification of a hook being sabotaged.
Dude, I want this perk to fucking like do more. I want like monstrous shrine on my hooks. Like all of them.
I agree. I think
But-
I think Hangman's trick's just a whole nother discussion.
I
Honestly,
kinda-
that's like
I do like that idea, but no one's gonna sabotage. So still, why would you run it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that version much better than the one we have, though.
You know, the whole thing about why would anyone sabotage, even though that's gonna be up next week, I actually have a bunch to say about that regarding new emblem system. Mhm.
Ooh.
Ooh, we're gonna be over 2 hours.
Since
We might as well just
The
fucking-
reason we're not really talking about it today, if you're wondering, is because I'm as far as I know, I'm the only person who's really had any experience with the new emblem system so far.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it
We'll
next
we'll,
week. Just-
we'll get to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got to finish up this, man. We got to
Yeah.
stay on topic. Okay, a Sabo one. Increases the time a hook stays saboed by 90 seconds. I'm only going to read he gave values for every tier, but I'm just going to read the tier 3 values. That way it's like less confusing. So like, does that mean that you completely lose out on the whole being able to sabo without a toolbox, as well as saboing being like more efficient? Do you lose? I'm assuming he means you lose out on all that. I don't think this is like an addition to the perk. I think this is just a complete rework, right? I don't know, because if it's a
I think
complete
so.
if it's a complete rework and that's what it does, and that's kind of interesting. It basically, you give up the ability to sabo without a toolbox, but your sabo becomes stronger because the hooks stay down for another minute and a half. I think that's interesting.
Dude, I'd love to see sabotage. Like you could like sabotage a pallet, so when the survivor throws it down, the killer's foot gets like poked and moves fucking slower or something. That'd be funny.
He actually said it's an
That'd be
addition,
funny, but-
so
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I feel like as a complete rework, maybe as an addition, I don't know. That
Yeah.
might be
Yeah.
that might be a little bit questionable as an
Mhm.
addition. I like that as a rework. I'm not gonna
That
lie.
makes me think. It makes me think about self-care. What does self-care only work like this? You don't get the ability to heal without a medkit, but healing with a medkit does not consume charges.
What's the
What?
point of
Okay.
charges then?
No, okay. If you
Oh,
have
because you're running
self-care-
self-care.
If you have self-care, healing yourself with a medkit does not consume charges.
Interesting.
That's
Don't
interesting.
like
So
personally.
you'd have to run it with a med kit, otherwise, I don't know.
I don't like that. I think it's
Yeah.
actually bad because you get a faster heal, and you don't want that. I think the nerf
Yeah.
that they did with self care to lower the efficiency was good because it means you can't get like 4 or 5 heals a game. You can maybe get 2. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're gonna keep moving because, like I said, there's a lot here. Okay,
Yeah.
slippery meat. Once per game, you're able to free yourself from the hook. R button. If you do so, you
No.
cannot be healed to healthy, and you'll be sacrificed immediately if hooked again. Increases the struggle phase time and the effects of wiggling killer stagger by 20%.
No.
Maybe.
Yeah, I got
Maybe,
No.
but no.
No.
I
No,
don't
no,
know.
maybe. No.
I gotta
Can you
go with
repeat the
no here.
question?
That's a little crazy.
It's a
You-
second chance perk.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
you're basically
Yeah.
able to get off the hook for free once per match. I mean, if you do, you can't be healed to immediately, and you'll be sacrificed immediately if hooked again. So you become like no mither, dead on hook for the rest of the game. But still,
But if no mither gave you a health state technically by pulling yourself off the hook, then it doesn't matter if you were injured because you got a health state.
yeah,
And just run dead hard with it.
Think of
Yeah.
if no mither had 3 health states, but you could never heal. That's what I see that perk as.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Okay, next perk.
All right, it just says sprint burst speed nerfed to 135%, which 125%.
Still don't think that's enough. 125,
Yeah.
still fast. I like that. I do like the idea of nerfing sprint burst. Perfect.
Which
Mwah, this guy's a genius.
I'm pretty sure the devs have talked about this too, right? I'm pretty sure I think I've seen something about the devs talking about nerfing the speed of sprint burst at some point in the future. So like, hopefully that eventually happens. We'll see. I mean, all exhaustion perks anyway, not just sprint burst.
All exhaustion, not just sprint
Yeah,
burst.
yeah.
All of them.
Anyway,
That's
okay.
the problem. Yeah,
yes,
next.
yes, brilliant idea. Maybe even nerf even more, but brilliant idea for sure. Okay, quick and quiet. Remove scratch marks around you upon performing the silenced action. Oh, he said 4 meters around you. Oh, I don't know. That might be a
Wait,
little
what
too
did it say?
strong.
Sorry, I didn't. I burned it.
You remove all scratch marks around you within a 4-meter radius upon performing the silenced action. So it's just like an add-on to like the current one. I don't. I think the whole
I
thing
think
about
as good as is.
yeah, I think quick and quiet is good as is too. I think that would make it good even against good killers to the point where everyone would run it and you would just be people would be disappearing like crazy and you'd be like, what the fuck is going on? You know?
Yeah, not to be mean, but I don't think if they tried to implement that, like if we're talking like hard to code, that shit is hard to code. Like
They
that
can't even
that-
do their scratch marks right. to
Yeah.
begin with.
Yeah,
that would just
that's
like
true.
delete all scratch marks on the map when you quick and quiet or something.
Okay, next perk.
Oh man. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say no. Quick and quiet's fine as is. That would make it too strong. Hey, next one's self-care. Skill checks are placed randomly on the screen. Failing a self-care check reduces your healing progress tremendously. Considerably, moderately, I guess, based on tier.
I think
This man
it's
hates self-care.
it's interesting, but I think that should be doctor's niche. I don't want to give
Agreed.
a perk.
Yeah, I
takes
agree.
away from them.
And also that just makes it so if the survivors are good at skill checks, it does nothing. You know, like it's still the same strength. I think the change we said earlier, where the speed reduces, is better. But
That
interesting.
I know we should stop, but reminds me, I had a really interesting talk about Doctor recently, and I had a really cool idea for his Madness 3.
We probably
Save it for next week.
Yeah, not,
We're talking
not
about
now.
perks.
Not now. dude.
Next
Not now.
perk.
Dude, there's still so many perks. We gotta do this. Decisive Strike. You're now hindered permanently if you successfully use Decisive Strike. Permanently hindered for the rest of the map. Hindered is interesting because, like, what does it do? It lowers your
Slows your movement
by
speed.
like a very small. Like, do you know what the percentage is? Does anybody know?
Fuck no, I've never
it's
never
like
noticed it.
very
It's
small.
barely,
Yeah, it's like
barely noticeable.
very slow and barely noticeable for sure.
Any debuff to Decisive Strike sounds good to me, but I still don't think it's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I liked we talked about DS earlier. I think some
It's-
good points were brought up. I
If
like
it's
those.
not a removal,
Next perk.
it's not enough.
Yeah,
Go.
Okay, sorry. Next perk is Spies. Now causes crow's sounds to be 100% louder. No longer gives notifications. They're just louder.
Don't like. You know what would be good for spies? Bring back the old crows. That's all you need.
Yeah, I
Bring
agree.
back the old crows. Make it 100%. Boom. You have a perk.
Yeah, there's just
Yeah.
there's just no crows anymore is what it
No,
comes down
crows
to.
suck dick. So
Yeah,
if crows
it-
suck dick, spies will never be good.
Yeah, for the record, killers back in
What
the
if-
day used to just literally just be able to see crows flying and know where people are just because of how many crows there were, and there's just no crows anymore. Aside from like Asylum, there's just no
Not
crows.
even that. Crows don't trigger because they bait it based on your movement speed proportional to it. So crows are bugged as fuck. You can crouch walk beside a crow. They can sometimes go off. Sometimes they won't.
Yep.
What if spies, just since we're doing, what if spies made it so, AFK crows? What if spies made that for like 5 to 8 seconds when you walk past a flock of crows? Know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't like that.
That sounds too
You
strong.
don't like that?
What if spies, when people were working on gens, crows would come and circle them as they're working on the gen? Something like that. I don't know. Never mind.
That'd be
What if
really
it was for
It's
doctors?
hard. It's a hard thing. All right. Anyway,
There's a lot. Next.
Okay, we have Overcharge. Has a 20-second cooldown. I want to give this man a round of applause. I would love to see Overcharge have a 20-second
Me
cooldown.
too.
Please. That's a brilliant idea. This is the best thing I've heard on the whole podcast. Please make an end to the fucking 3-gen doctors, dude. Give that shit a 20-second cooldown. I love you for this.
Do you know what I think you could also do? You could also make Overcharge just be better. If you can make it so while Overcharge is on it, if his cooldown regresses faster, so then you're not punished for 3-gen stratting, or you're punished for 3-gen stratting, but you're not punished for using it on a gen that's like near completion, middle of the game, and then you go chase someone. I like that. I love that idea. Though.
So like a static passive that goes on Overcharge, but now has a cooldown. You're talking like, okay, I get you.
It's like a 20-second cooldown
nice.
when you kick. Yeah.
All right. Yep. All right. This is an interesting idea. See, I've had the first idea of this, but I've never heard the second one. Okay, a Predator rework. Scratch marks are more precise, which I've honestly always wanted. I always wanted to see like Predator change the scratch marks to be like thinner and more precise, which I don't even know if they could code, but hypothetically. And then also he put on top of it, also all survivors now have unique colors for their scratch marks. That way you know who you're chasing. That's interesting. I've never heard that before.
That sounds interesting.
It sounds like tunneling when I hear that.
Yeah,
I'd love
you
to
feel
see.
me?
That also sounds like, oh man, I have to learn the individual colors for every survivor, every game, every time.
I mean, not really. It's just like if you're chasing, say, blue scratch marks, and then randomly you're like, oh, now I'm chasing red scratch marks. You're like, oh, I guess I'm chasing someone else now. Or like if you really want to chase the blue guy, you could be like, I don't think you have to like memorize it going into each game. It's an interesting idea. I agree. It kind of reminds me of tunneling.
I think before we...
I like the other part of it though, make them a little bit more precise.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's behavior interactive.
Yeah, I think.
Can I ask a question? Do you think it would be a shit show, or do you think it would be bad if you ran Predator walking survivors made scratch marks? I'm just putting my hands up.
Yeah,
I wanted to immediately say fuck that. That sounds ridiculous, but now that I'm thinking about it,
fuck that. That sounds ridiculous.
I think I am gonna have to say ridiculous.
I think it's interesting though.
It is an interesting idea. Yeah, I mean it's good to throw it out there, but yeah, I think that sounds ridiculous. Yeah. All right. Unnerving Presence, the next perk. I mean, I think that's a pretty good idea for the first half. Anyway, Unnerving Presence, next perk. Special skill checks, snap out of it, overcharge, Decisive Strike are no longer affected.
Yep, I think that should be by default. Don't know why it is.
I don't know why that's not in the game already. I agree. That should be.
So I like it.
As much as I hate saying like help out the DS users, I just think the DS should be changed, and then this should also be changed.
For sure.
Like I don't want to buff DS, but yeah, I think the snap out of an overcharge should definitely be affected. Great change.
Agreed.
You guys agree? Aside from the DS, obviously, in its current state.
I'm gonna say no, but we can move on.
Okay.
Fair enough. No mither, okay? No mither. Start the trial healthy, but any perks or actions that benefit from being injured can still be used while healthy. No pain sounds when in the dying state. So I'm guessing this is just an add-on to the current one, so that way people don't know that you're no mither. Is that the point of this? Like, do you take
still
away?
Know you're no mither, I think. It's just you would be healthy because they have that stupid fucking icon.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Shows the killer.
I'm assuming this also, maybe he just forgot to write it. I'm assuming this is also assuming you get rid of the icon. Otherwise, what would be the point? Like, there would be no point in this unless you... I'm going to assume that he forgot to write the fact that you get rid of the icon because I'm assuming this is to hide the fact that you have no mither, which is good because I think that's no mither's huge problem right now. Is like the only benefit that no mither gives you is basically you can pick yourself up off the ground, but the killer sees a giant fucking icon that basically says never slug this guy. So like, you know, it's just dumb.
I really like that idea of also giving it the sound. I think no mither's sound is fucking stupid that it isn't 100%, and you need to use Iron Wolf if you want 100%. Because you're literally injured. You shouldn't need 2 perks to take a disadvantage, you know?
Agreed. Yeah.
I like that idea. I really do like that idea, yeah.
I do too. Yeah, he confirmed that it's with getting rid of the icon too. So yeah, definitely good. Yeah, I think that's a great idea, honestly. That would make no mither actually more useful.
And fun.
Yep, agreed. All right, stakeout. Works off radius from the killer instead of heartbeat. Wait, works off radius from the killer rather than heartbeat. Yeah, I agree. Because the thing is that stakeout right now is just garbage if you're playing against like stealth killers. Like if you're playing against like a Scratch Mirror Myers or like a Wraith or like a, I don't even know how does it even interact with Freddy. Probably with Lullaby or like Huntress.
Actually, it does work on Freddy's Lullaby. I can confirm.
Well, then there you go. It's not a, but still, everyone else, a Scratch Mirror Myers, a Huntress, or like a fucking Wraith, it's stakeout. You get fucked. You get totally fucked.
Personally, I don't think that should happen because I think stakeout. Or I think those killers can get a slight advantage over the one shot down and more powerful chase killers by making perks that work like that less effective. You know what I mean? That's kind of what they do. Is that perks based off of the tear radius are less effective against these inherent stealth killers, which I feel like are usually the weaker killers.
That is fair because okay,
that's my personal.
I think Huntress aside, maybe it should.
Yeah. I think Huntress's Lullaby should be effective.
Yeah, because
just like how Freddy's is because it's his heartbeat.
Exactly. Like I do think though that you are right. Like I feel like Wraith and especially like tier 1 Myers, especially if you stay tier 1,
even Pig.
Yeah, even Pig. Like kind of have that like. You know, you're giving up mobility and you're giving up other things for the sake of being a stealth killer. So, you know, maybe you know you should be rewarded by counting certain perks.
To give you another problem with the suggestion, then you have a super good spine chill sort of thing where you're getting a benefit and you know exactly that the killer is 32 meters away because your stakeout charge will start ticking. I learned this against Freddy. Yeah.
That's a very solid point. That's good.
And that's a big thing for me as well. Is that'll fuck stealth killers if stakeout's decent, I think. But that's just one of those things that I think stealth killers should have, and it shouldn't fuck them, you know?
Yeah, agreed. I didn't even think about that. That's a good point. It was an interesting idea, but you're right.
Very interesting though. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, that pretty much like debunks the whole thing. All right, Beast of Prey. Press R to make the stain disappear instead of triggering by bloodlust. I've heard this a million times, and I honestly kind of like it. I kind of like having a perk where you hit a button and then your stain goes away. And I don't think any perk should be tied to Bloodlust because fuck Bloodlust.
Fuck Bloodlust.
Yeah. Fuck Bloodlust.
I also
Bloodlust to just be.
My only thing about it is I feel like taking the stain away by a button activatable, it almost makes it less skillful because a lot of killers will hide their stain, which is a skill-based thing. So that's my only.
See, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if a killer wants to take a perk that they could just do by instead moonwalking, then that's their fault, you know?
That's a good point.
Like, if they really want to give up a perk slot to do something they could just do by default, then fuck them.
Fair. You know, I like that. You're right. You're right.
So, like, yeah, like it would just be something that you could learn to do yourself, or just if you don't feel like it, you run a perk. Bam.
Yeah, like it.
I like it. I can dig it. All right. Sorry, did you have something to say?
Nope.
I'm gonna give like a second of silence, and if nobody says anything, I'm just gonna move on. Right?
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I thought you were ending the podcast.
No. Sorry. Surveillance lasts until a generator stops regressing instead of 16 seconds. Survivors within 4, 6, 8 meters of a surveillance generator have their auras revealed.
Very much so. Don't like this because Doctor exists.
Yeah, like I just.
That's why I think surveillance is shit because the 3-gen strat fucking sucks.
Yeah, I think they'd have to do something like perks like this are like it sounds good until you're just like, well, 3-gen strat, you know?
Yep.
Like if 3-gen strat wasn't around, then perks like this would be able to like thrive and be fun.
And they'd be cool. I like that idea. But there's so much cancer behind 3-gen strat. It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so not fun. And when you play against it, it's still not fun. And even with the overcharge nerf suggestion, it doesn't fix the fact that Doctor still fucks it because you get a 12-second debuff that you're forced to snap out of it, therefore not allowing you to do generators, therefore allowing it to regress for those 12 seconds. So yeah, it's a problem.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say it would be an awesome idea if they did something about did something else to fix 3-gen, but with 3-gen in the game, can't get behind it.
Agreed.
Alright. Bounce landing. Reduces stagger, is always on for rank 3. Rank 3 sprint only activates when in a chase. Completely reduces the grunt sound when you land.
It's actually a bug. It's supposed to work like that.
Yeah.
It's actually supposed to be at tier 3. It's supposed to reduce every fall. That's just a bug.
Yeah, I know that part's a bug, but the whole sprint only activating when in a chase isn't already in the game. That's
No, I personally don't like that.
Yeah,
because I think you should have to be smart about your balance landing. Procking so you don't just fall off like an idiot, you know?
And I also want to say while we're at it that I wish live didn't work when only in a chase, because I think the chase mechanics in DBD are very fucking touchy, and sometimes you can be out of a chase. For instance, I watched Morph stream for 5 minutes before I even started the podcast today, and he was chasing someone around a truck pallet, like around a pallet loop on a truck. And the chase randomly dropped. He was literally doing a pallet loop, and the chase randomly dropped.
It's because the truck had, did he have LOS or no?
No, yeah, he had LOS, but I think the truck is, considered, you know how, Huntress' hatches
yeah.
I think it's considered, opaque or whatever. It's so weird. But that's what I'm saying. Just in general in this game, the chase mechanics are so touchy that I don't like anything like that being based on when in a chase. I don't know.
It's just like that perk with movement speed. Same problem.
Exactly.
Chases are super touchy.
And as a matter of fact, I think that's going to cause a huge issue with the upcoming emblems, but we're not going to get into that right now. But anyway, regardless, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say I like the whole reduces the grunt sound. The first part should already be the reduces stagger always on should already be a thing. It's just bugged.
Agreed.
And the only when in a chase, I can't get behind anything activating only when in a chase.
Agreed.
All right, botany knowledge. Now also reduces bleeding frequency.
Jesus.
I like that.
Sure, why not?
I like that.
Botany's good enough, but sure.
What was it again?
Botany also reduces the bleeding frequency. Basically the opposite of serrated jaws or whatever the fuck.
Sloppy butcher.
Yeah, sloppy butcher or whatever. It's called something.
Make botany more. I want to use botany knowledge.
Hemorrhage. That's
hemorrhage. Yeah, hemorrhage.
Let's keep going.
Yeah, I think great idea. We all agree, great idea. Open-handed increases the killer's terror radius for you by the same amount. Does not work on no terror radius effects. Any auras the killer has are not active in this area. Wait, what?
Don't like it because it's going to be buggy as fuck. Increasing a terror radius for one person doesn't work with how I believe Behavior designed their engine and the way that it works. And I don't think you'd want a bigger killer radius sometimes, I don't want to make a doctor's killer radius bigger. It's not happening.
I think that would come with the risk reward of running it, but
for sure, yeah, no, you're right. I guess you'd get fucked by doctor, but it'd be better against people like Pig. I don't know if it makes 0 go to 8, which I assume it would because it's just increasing it by 8 meters. But then that's another thing is it kind of fucks stealth killers really hard, and I don't think they need to be fucked.
Well,
I like open-handed as it is.
Yeah, it says it doesn't work on no heartbeat, but yeah, I guess
on no heartbeat. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Wraith and Crouching Pig would be.
But okay. Myers would be. Yeah,
Myers would get
T1 Myers would be very sad, boys.
Hey guys, this is gonna be a great 3-hour podcast. I can feel it.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm shooting for 2.5 hours at this point because there's 4 more perks on this email, and then we're gonna wrap it up because this shit's gone way too long.
Yeah.
All right, overwhelming presence does not reveal us.
We appreciate the emails, guys.
We do.
Yeah, we really honestly. I think we should start opening ridiculous.
with emails.
With
I was gonna suggest that after the.
I honestly feel bad rushing through emails because people take the time to write to us. I'll just say this at the end, okay? Anyway, let's just keep going on. Overwhelming presence does not reveal it's active until you're using the item. That seems fair. I don't know why that's not already in the game, to be honest. How when you're in the terror radius, it shows you that they have overwhelming.
Fuck overwhelming presence.
Yeah, I kind of hate that perk too, but if it's gonna be in the game, it might as well work like that,
I think they need to do a lot of stuff like that where they need to do overwhelming presence and or lullaby and all that stuff. in like Hex Ruin should show when you do the first skill check, right? It should work like that. And I think that should be a pretty consistent thing across the board, in all honesty.
Yeah,
I don't like these niche perks that are all like just a little bit different when it comes to mechanics. It's annoying.
Yeah, I agree. It's fucking weird. But yeah, I'd be cool with that change. All right, Technician. This is a buff to Technician. Start with 1, 2, 3 tokens based on rank. When you fail a skill check, prevent the explosion sound and remove 1 token. So you remove, I'm assuming this removes the whole like 50-50 chance, and instead it's based off tokens. And then gain a token when you finish a generator.
Yes! Thank you! I wanted to hear that.
Quiet
Like,
repair
let's
remains.
go.
Yeah, I love that. I love that idea.
Insert the JoJo yes.
Yeah, remove
Yes,
the fucking
sir.
shitty RNG aspect, because fuck RNG. I fucking hate RNG and everything everything has to be fucking RNG all the time. It drives me nuts. Make it tokens, and yeah, there you go. Like, you get a token for doing a gen, and then if you fuck up a skill check, bam. And that makes it a good, like, especially if you're like a new player, that makes it super good,
God, that perk.
That would
I want that.
That would be
Like,
amazing.
I want that so bad right now.
Yeah,
I
that would
need
be
this in
such
my
a good
life.
change, honestly. That sounds really, really good.
Cool.
All right, Sloppy Butcher. Increases current debuff. Hemorrhage, exhaustion, hindered, mangled, blindness durations by 30% on any damaging hit. No longer causes hemorrhage. So, like, instead it's like something you pair up with things that already make.
Don't like that. I actually like the Sloppy Butcher. I do like that aspect, kind of. Not
I gotta
too
say, I
much.
don't like it. I
Not too much.
like Sloppy Butcher the way it is, to be honest.
Yeah, I like Sloppy Butcher the way it is,
I'm gonna say yes because I really like combo perks. I like comboing perks.
that's the only reason I would say yes as well. But I like
Yeah.
Sloppy Butcher how it is, and this would be a new perk, personally, in my opinion. If they were to make something like that. Just like the opposite Vigil for Killer, right?
I think Sloppy Butcher, as it is right now, could next to the increased bleeding frequency, making the survivor grunts louder, would maybe make it a little more playable.
That's what Strider does. Next part.
Yeah, I mean, that's just Strider. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, but when injured,
But that's exactly what Strider does.
Yeah, that's Strider, though. All right, sorry. We're
sorry.
gonna
It's
get
late
into the
here.
last
It's like-
perk. It's
it's
okay.
like-
It's okay, Atro. We forgive. All right, the
It's
very last
almost-
perk. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt. Very last perk, Insidious. Stand still for the same amount of seconds, 4, 3, 2 seconds, to gain a haste buff upon next moving for 3 seconds. 30-second cooldown, no longer removes terror radius. So basically, it's no longer a stealth perk, but if you stand still for a couple seconds and then you start moving again, you get a movement speed boost for 3 seconds.
What's the movement speed boost?
I don't know. It just says gain a haste buff. I don't know if he came up with numbers. I think he just wanted like the idea of it.
I can just imagine on pallet loops a roguey mask trapper just standing still, and the Sarai is just like, oh fuck no, and then you just get bomb rushed.
Yeah, my question
Agreed.
is when would you ever use this? Yeah.
I mean, I feel
Actually,
like people would
Mine
try to
would
use
be
it to counter.
how
pallet
fast is it? Yeah.
Well, honestly,
That's
if a pallet's already downed and you're sitting
mean,
there trying to
haste-
mind game it,
Haste to me sounds like at least 30% increase,
I mean, not really. You get haste from hope as a survivor, and that's 8%. Haste
But
is
Haste
literally
also
any.
split burst.
Yeah, I mean, haste literally just describes the increased movement speed. Is all it is. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But it could be any number. Like, let's say hypothetically, like
You're right.
5 to 8% or something. Like one play with your food stack or something. Like maybe a little bit more. Like I'm sure there's a number somewhere where it might be decent. Maybe you could use that like a thrown pallet to try to mind game it and get a hit. I feel like I'd have to play test that. That might be really
True.
cool, or it might be really bad. But
And
either
really
way,
off.
either way, it definitely sounds better than current Insidious. So if the devs did that, I wouldn't be mad because that sounds much better than the current version. Fuck yeah, man!
Cool.
All right, there's a couple more emails, but we're not getting them. That's all we're doing for today. I'm sorry, we're like 2.5 hours deep, and we need to fucking end, dude. We really got to work out how fast or how long these podcasts are. We talk a lot, dude. Holy shit.
Can I make my 10-second pitch really quick?
Yeah, I'm gonna make a closing statement too. So go ahead and do your thing.
Devs, I know you're all in stream right now and you're watching this. Please, for the love of God, make Hex a third seal. Please make the blindness work for the boxes, please. Please.
That's all he wants.
That's all I
Jigsaw
want.
boxes. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
Fair
I'm
enough.
done.
All right, do either of you two have a closing statement? Because I have a closing statement.
Nerf sprint burst.
Remove Decisive Strike.
Is that your closing statement? Nerf sprint burst
That's
and
a
remove
good one.
Decisive Strike.
Beautiful.
those are my closing
Alright.
statements.
My closing statement is a lot longer than your guys'. Sorry. My closing statement is this, dude. Like, okay, perks are a huge fucking deal in this game. Please nerf the fucking meta perks. Perks like Sprint Burst, Decisive Strike should not be that strong. Perks should not be fucking game changing to the point where like running, like playing a killer against 4 times DS and Sprint Burst versus playing four survivors that don't have those is like monumentally different. Perks should not be monumentally game changing. They should just be minor buffs. Perks like Wake Up, perks like Bond, perks like Pharmacy, perks like Resilience are great perks, and they should be the standard for perk strength, okay? Perks should not be fucking oppressive to play against. Same thing goes for like Insidious, NOED, things like that. The perks should not be oppressive to play against. And also, please in the future when you're thinking about perks, making new perks or changing perks, please think about if it's gonna be, like I just said, oppressive to play against. Perks like Insidious and NOED and things like that that just like completely cripple your fun should not be in the game. Perks don't have to be like a super fucking fun thing. You shouldn't have to be excited to play against a perk, but it shouldn't destroy your fun. That's not good for the video game. That's very not good. It has to be fun, please. That's all I want. That's all I want. That's my ending statement.
Like it.
All right.
It's a lot better than ours. That's for sure.
Yeah, sorry. I've been thinking about that for the past.
I was trying to be
2.5
time
hours of
efficient, okay?
podcasting. Yeah, okay. Anyway, let's get the fuck out of here, dude. This podcast has been 2.5 hours. This is fucking stupid. Also, I want to say
almost
sorry
1 a.m.
real quick. I also want to say sorry to everyone that emailed. I know we kind of rushed through the emails because we've been doing it at the end of the podcast rather than the beginning. So we're kind of like heavy on time, so we rushed them. I'm sorry. I think from now on we'll try to do them early in the podcast. That way we don't rush through them. We really do appreciate you guys emailing us. And I'm sorry if it comes off the wrong way by us rushing through. But
It was
really,
honestly amazing. Like,
Yeah.
love it.
These
Yeah,
emails
you-
were great.
Yeah, the
I love
emails were fantastic for sure, and we'll try to make more time for them in the future. So apologies about that, and thank you again for emailing us.
Appreciate you. Papa
Thanks
bless.
for being here.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
it.
man.
So I'll see you guys all later. See ya. Thanks for hanging out and listening and watching the podcast. See ya.